Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. You know what it is. It's them kids and wives and 925s, but we are still married to the games. Episode 300B.
There it is.
It's so weird. It's flipped around this year. Usually when we do the century marks, the show happens during the week, and then the weekend we do the B-side. Mm-hmm. This time it's flipped around because the B-side is not this following weekend.
Right.
So 300B it is in the middle of the week.
Unpredictable.
Even though we explained it before?
That's right.
300B?
Oh my gosh. Chris, how was your drive back to Oklahoma to get the dog and all that?
The drive was...
Was it as smooth as coming out? You said it was the smoothest drive coming out.
I think that it was. The only difference between this one is that on the drive to Nashville, I tried to drive every single bit of it, and I almost did.
Right.
But on the way back, I drove about halfway, and then Stacy and I swapped when we were getting lunch with the plan to be like, oh, okay, I'll just kind of like rest for a few minutes, and then I'll take back over. And I ended up falling asleep, and she drove the rest of the way to Oklahoma.
Oh, nice. Hey,
awesome.
You needed it, brother. You needed that.
Yeah, and so that worked out really well. And then we ended up going straight to Oklahoma to pick up Ellie. And the original plan was we were just going to stay there the night. But we got there at around 7 because we ended up leaving later than we had like when we were driving out to Nashville.
Right.
And I was just like, with that nap and everything, I'm good. I just want to drive home, and so we can be home all day on Wednesday and not have to worry about getting up.
Nice.
Great idea.
Yeah,
man.
so I just
idea.
went ahead and drove us home, and so we've been home all day today. We slept in this morning, and then we've just been, taking care of some errands and finishing up some things right before we have to head back to work tomorrow. So yeah, for all intents and purposes, it was pretty much just as smooth as the drive out there.
Good.
Love that.
That's
Yeah,
great,
it was really
man.
good.
That's great.
And Edward, you had to travel back as well, and you left early in the morning.
Left early in the morning. I had a long day.
Early.
Did you just stay up, Ed, or did you actually go to sleep and then get up?
I actually went to sleep, yes.
Ooh, that's unlike you.
I know,
It's because
right?
Stansel's so nice to cuddle with.
I know, right?
He is a spoonful.
Well, I mean,
Got to call a spade, right?
that's right. But yeah, we got up early in the morning, went to the airport, and had a pretty uneventful flight home. The second flight was delayed a little bit, but I got home about an hour later than I thought. But it was still light outside when I got to the airport in Fort Wayne, and drove home. And yeah, it was pretty nice, pretty smooth.
Good.
There you go.
Yeah,
I like that. Router, how was your drive home from 300?
2-minute drive was unbelievable. It was great. I was in bed before any of you fools were in your beds. So there you have it.
That's right.
Yeah, right?
That's right. We definitely are. I know I am. I feel like this one's different. So I definitely had a high coming off of 200.
Mm-hmm.
And that lasted me a little bit.
yeah,
For some reason, this time I feel more hungover
yes,
than a high.
yes.
And I don't know if it was because it was 3 days. And so you kind of had so much hanging out, where 200 was like a spike where it was a day that was full of meeting people and hanging out, doing the show, and then it was over.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of lofted me in the air, and then everybody leaves, and you're like, oh, I wasn't done. And this time we got 3 full days of
That's right.
hanging out and talking and laughing. And I just remember going home and being exhausted.
Yeah.
Dude, every night this weekend, and I'm a night owl, and as soon as Stansel and I would get back to the Airbnb, I was on the couch, out.
Yeah.
Every night.
I would just come home and lay on my living room floor, staring at the ceiling.
Yep.
And
Well, man, I gotta say, you did a lot of work. I mean, you all did a lot of work, but Gabe, I feel like you did a lot of the planning and getting things together. So thank you for that.
oh man, it's my honor.
I know that it was stressful. Get the audio going. Just make sure we got everything right. Get the projector going, and you handled it, man. So thank you for all that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I said it during the show, and I'll say it again. It is a group effort. I definitely couldn't have done it by myself. And it definitely took a team, and I'm really grateful for everybody. And I usually don't get high on my own supply, but because this week was so different and I didn't have to edit the show, I went back and listened to it today. Like, gave it a couple days and listened to it.
How was
as
it?
I was driving around today. It sounded really fun.
Yeah.
Good. That's awesome.
I thought it did. And so I had to do a thing with my mom tonight. She runs the Gospel Music Association, and they were doing like this thing called Immerse, and it was the last night. She asked me to come host it. And it's like 30 minutes away from the house, so I just kind of listened to it on the way there and on the way back. And I was like, that was a sweet time.
A lot of people had fun. I know I did. I did not want it to. I felt like we probably could have gone like 2.5 hours if we wanted to. Like it felt a little short, but at the same time, I'm like, I was like, that's good. I think we had a good in between there, but I could have gone all night just hanging out and talking.
Yeah, and it was so much fun, and like some of the things that didn't make it into the live show was just and it probably because it came after was like all the Jackbox games we played. And getting to hang out because, the way 300 happened was that first day, Saturday, we had the EA press conference. Then we had a break. And then some of us went up to Extra Life and supported what they had going on, and then came back and did the live show. And then that night, I think the live show was over at like 9:30 or 10 or something like that. And then from like 10 till almost midnight, I think we did Jackbox games.
Yeah.
And that was just so fun, laughing with each other. And I mean, laughing hearty laughing.
Yes.
And and so that was so great, and getting that time to hang out, and then obviously we had the pressers the next day, and then the next day after that, coupled with the breakfasts that went on. And Ed, I got to tip my hat to you. I think Ed went to everything. Where I missed a breakfast and an arcade hang, I think.
Oh, right.
And
yes,
but Ed was at everything. Chris was almost at everything. And me and Tim, obviously being the two guys with kids in town, made it to what we could. I tried to go by
at least
the
one
breakfast, and exactly. I tried to go by the breakfast at least and hang out a little bit. And so hats off to you guys for
holding it down,
showing up, and and doing the whole thing.
And a big thanks to Stancil as well. I mean, I love that he comes and he helps us out. I mean, he helped us during the live stream a lot with the fielding all the questions and everything. And
he sure did.
I mean, I just didn't want to be on the phone up there on stage, and he was just like, "Man, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it." And I'm like, "Dude, that's why I love you. You're amazing."
Yeah, so. He's definitely like the honorary fifth member.
Yeah, he really is.
Married to the Games.
Yeah,
he killed it for us. That was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much it with that.
Yeah, that is.
That's the week update. You've gotten a lot of Married to the Games this last 2 weeks,
whether you want to or not.
Exactly. We appreciate you guys sticking it out with us. You got us on Friday, and then you got us on Saturday, and then now this coming Thursday and Friday you'll get us again.
You got a fistful of Married to the Games.
That's right. That's right.
Since we're still on you, Gabe, I just wanted to ask how Boots is doing in camp, because I know this was her first camp.
She's loving camp.
Good.
It's really fun. Them jokers got a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that's why I hated camp.
Exactly.
It's one of those things, like when you pull in, they have like both driveways lined with like 10 teenagers on each side dancing, like, yeah, all right, here we go, and oh yeah, welcome to camp, blah, blah, blah. And it makes it like really awkward where you're sitting there trying to get out into the street. I was like, I'm gonna just hit somebody jumping out into the street.
Right.
I was like, this is too uncomfortable for me to sit here while they're like, all right, all right, we got that, they're doing chants and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, brother.
Can I just drop my daughter off and go?
Exactly. But Jenny checked me pretty good, and she made a good point. She was like, but those are the exact people that you want running the camp that your kids are.
Exactly.
You want those over the top, super energetic people. And I was like,
they will be attentive.
I mean, I feel you, but I'm trying to pull out into the street and they're distracting.
That's so awesome.
Man. But it was a good time. Well, Router.
Yeah, man.
You got it?
Yeah, man.
Let me see if my voice has it.
Go for it.
Well, let's Do it!
All right, not a whole lot of new releases because of E3 just kind of getting all the love, but Jurassic World Evolution for the PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Go for it, Katie. She's been freaking out about that game.
Really?
Really? Why is that?
Yeah. She's a huge Jurassic Park fan.
It's hard for me to get excited about anything Jurassic Park. Right?
She is all about Jurassic Park.
That's
so
awesome.
she says the movies right now are good and everything.
Jurassic World was great.
I mean, I haven't asked her to give me an in-depth review, but I know she's gonna, regardless, if one's coming out, she's seeing it. And if the game's coming out that's Jurassic Park, she's purchased it and pre-ordered it and is already playing it probably. Yeah.
That is awesome.
It was so nice to meet them, by the way. They're just good people. You can just they're
it just like reiterated how amazing our community was.
Oh, please.
Seeing everybody. There was so many new faces and like even people, I've met a lot of the people just from traveling around, but like you're like, oh snap. Like these are good folks here.
Yeah.
Like we were just talking about Lem before we
had part of my
started recording. Yeah. Kabowski was there.
Yep.
So great.
So good.
Yep. All right, moving on. Super Bomberman R for the Xbox One, PC, and PS4. Paladins, Champions of the Realm for the Switch. Fortnite comes out for the Switch.
That's right.
Splatoon 2 Octo expansion for the Switch. Lego The Incredibles, PC, PS4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One.
There you go, Ed.
By the way, speaking of Incredibles, that would be Piper's topic of the week if it was one this week, because one of the reasons why I was late is because we ended up having a family night tonight, and we did, and AMC was doing a double feature of The Incredibles and Incredibles 2, and I got to see it before it came out.
Oh, how was it?
It is, to quote Piper, incredible. It is a fantastic sequel. You will love it. I laughed out loud many a times, and the story is really great. So everybody go watch it this weekend. It was so good. I absolutely loved it. I will go.
Nice.
I will go back and see it again in the theaters if Piper wants to go back. She even said in the car, she's like, "Daddy, can we go back and see that?" She's like, "That was incredible." So
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, it was great. Right? And I thought, I'm like, the double feature started at 6. I'm like, we'll be out of there by like 9:30, 9:45. And it just, those movies just took a little bit longer than I thought. Most Pixar's are usually about an hour
and a half. Yeah.
Hour and a half, but this one went a little bit. So that's one of the reasons why I was about 10 minutes late to getting back in there. But it was great family time. We just had a great time, and it was awesome hearing Piper laugh. And she just loved that movie. So that's definitely one for this weekend. If you want to take the family, go take it. It's a great movie.
There you go.
No oops, no NPD. Back to you.
Nice. So I thought, and Chris, you let me know if this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we could just hit two stories that are maybe outside the realm of the pressers, and then maybe just hit our highlights of the press conferences.
Okay.
Do you have a story you want to kick us off with?
Do you have a story?
I sure do.
Okay, well, you do your story first.
Okay, buddy. So this was cool, and it just cements how amazing this guy is at, what is it, Fortnite? Ninja and Marshmello, the musician.
Oh, wow.
They did a charity Pro-Am, Fortnite Pro-Am, professional and amateur.
Yep.
Yeah.
And them jokers won that thing. It was $1 million for charity in Epic's Celebrity Fortnite Pro-Am.
Wow.
And they won. And it's just so crazy because, yes, he plays Fortnite for a living, pretty much. But, like, that doesn't guarantee that every time you touch the keyboard, you're going to win.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that he won in front of all these people was amazing.
Wow.
Here's the weird downside. He tweeted out, because, he's at E3, he's doing the thing. He's probably getting so much love compared to last year. I don't even know if he was there last year, but I'd imagine he was around. And he tweeted out today, he goes, "You want to know the struggles of streaming over other jobs? I left for less than 48 hours, because he's been E3ing, and lost 40,000 subscribers on Twitch."
What?
He said, "I'll be back today," which is Wednesday, grinding again. He didn't, because he streams every day. He didn't stream for 2 days, less than 2 days, and lost 40,000 subscribers.
Why would people unsubscribe for that reason? That's so weird.
Because they didn't get their Twitch,
their thing.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's funny. It's one of those things, and maybe the streaming community is like this. I don't know about this, but you know how they always say you tell a company whether they're doing good or bad by your dollars, right? Mm-hmm. You don't think that a company's doing good, so you just don't shop there. And so I guess people are taking that stance of like, hey, all right, you're not going to stream for 2 days? Fine, I'll unfollow you. Now, obviously, we think that's ridiculous, but we all
ridiculous.
But
we
we're
all
also
have
not
patience.
12.
Yes. So in the story I was reading it from was making the note that like most streamers would kill to have 40,000 subscribers.
Exactly.
Right.
This Joker lost 40,000 subscribers in 2 days.
That's insane. But also just won the Pro-Am for Fortnite. So like,
yeah, exactly. For $1 million. So like, I'm not mad at him. I know he's probably bummed, but I think he'll get him back.
Oh, he'll get him back.
He's like the biggest streamer on Twitch right now. He's taking over the world. He's doing his thing. I've never watched him personally, so I don't know if he's clean or dirty or
I haven't
or
either.
whatever.
The crazy
but
thing
obviously
is
he's
like,
awesome.
okay, if you now granted, I understand that when you have Amazon Prime, you have a Twitch Prime subscription and you can just give it to somebody. I get all that. But for the most part, if you're subscribing to a person, that's got to mean you're a fan of their content.
That's right.
Which means you probably follow them not just on Twitch, you probably follow them on Twitter and or on their Facebook channel and whatever else they got going. You've got to know that homeboy's at E3 doing something for charity. And if you're going to pull your subscription because he missed 2 days, when you know what he's doing is a good thing.
Right.
It's got to be like kids that just don't understand or don't know any better or something. It's got to be,
And here's the
right?
other problem. They gave him permission to use the stream on his channel. So I think he's actually hosting that stream as well. And so it's just the craziest thing. I just don't understand it.
Good thing he has like 12 million subscribers or whatever.
I think he'll be okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine too. It just like, it made me sad for him that he got hit like that. But at the same time, you're like, he'll get him back. It'll be fine. I just don't know like who would take the time to go and unsubscribe.
I know, right? Like it doesn't impose on you in any way if a stream doesn't come down.
Right. Like, you know how many emails I'm subscribed to that I don't want to be subscribed to, but I just like delete them instead of clicking them open and then going down and unsubscribing,
Exactly.
then going
Right.
through the reasons why. I just delete them when I see them. It's just crazy.
Wow.
Chris, you got anything?
Yeah, I do. So this is not cool.
Oh, good.
Just like my story.
Yeah,
You
great.
said this. You said this is cool. At least you started out that way. So I'm going to say this is not cool. And it also, what do you
Yes.
know? It also pertains to Fortnite, kind of in a way. So the beginning of this is not the not cool part. So Fortnite is coming to Switch.
Yes.
Okay.
Came to Switch.
Yeah, came to Switch. Excuse me. The not cool part is that if you've ever at any point in time linked your Epic account to a PlayStation 4, you
That's
cannot link that account to your
To the
Nintendo
Switch.
Switch.
Oh, man.
Really?
Yeah, I saw Greg, what's his name? Greg Murray? What's his name?
I don't know, Greg. What?
The guy from Beyond?
Oh.
Or used to be on Beyond from Kind of Funny now.
Greg Miller.
Greg Miller.
Miller.
Yes.
He was complaining like a mug about that
Yeah.
today.
So literally everybody on the internet is complaining about it. And so this, I don't remember who it was at 300. I was chatting with somebody and I had made mention of, and just because of all of the things that Microsoft's been doing, I was like, I'm fully expecting that when whatever the next generation happens, starts to begin, with the new consoles, whatever they are. I don't know if they're going to be lock and step like they were this generation since, the Xbox One X just came out and the whole like half step consoles throws it all out of whack. So I don't know if they're going to be like the same year or what. But when the generation,
I think they will be, by the way.
I'm thinking they will, but since you never really know, I'm just going to say, let's say at the very least, maybe they're a year apart. But there's going to be a point where you're going to be like, okay, this generation has started for everybody, or at least Microsoft and Sony. And I was like, I just feel like it's going to swing back. It only makes sense that it swing back because Microsoft's been doing so much stuff that's like, I'm fully expecting Microsoft to get the jump and that Sony's going to be playing catch up. Now, I don't know.
They've been laying the foundation.
Yes, I don't know that it's going to be like it was in the PS3 generation where Xbox was so far ahead and it took PS3 so far to catch back up. And I don't know that it's going to be like this generation where Sony jumped out so far ahead that Xbox likely is not going to be able to catch up. It might be more of like a race where they're just neck and neck. But I fully expected Microsoft to jump out in front just because, like you said, they've been doing so much stuff that by the time 2020 comes here, which is what's seeming like when the next generation is going to start, they're going to be in really, really good position. And they're going to have laid all this foundation and they're going to be rock solid. And Sony's going to be on their heels. And one of the big reasons for that, in my opinion, is because Sony at the time, currently, is still not doing this whole crossplay thing.
But this is tied into to get their act together.
This is tied into the whole crossplay thing because basically Sony's like, look, if you linked your account with us and you purchased things for Fortnite from us, we don't want it to cross over to where when you log in on your Switch or whatever, which I don't fully understand all that. I fully believe that this is Sony is the gatekeeper of this and causing this issue. I don't understand how Epic can make that or allow that to be a thing because it's their service. Like you're logging into an account with Epic. So it seems like how could they did they sign some deal that said, okay, Sony, we'll let you keep this stuff behind your walled garden? I don't know how that stuff all works. So it seems strange to me
I didn't get that either.
It seems strange to me that Epic would do that if indeed they did, which I don't know if they did. But for all intents and purposes, this is kind of Sony doing this thing. And if this is not, I mean, Fortnite is the biggest game in the world right now and has been for a little while. If this is not the thing and this pushback does not force Sony to finally be like, okay, fine, we give up. We'll do the crossplay and we'll let you keep your stuff and all this and that and whatever. If this is not it, to me, this cements that Microsoft is going to be out ahead. They're already the winners of the next generation. If they're not already anyways. They're not okay, let me take that back. Not necessarily the winner of the generation, that's to be determined, but they're going to be the front runner. Period.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So
there's got to be some sort of platform operating system or something that that either prevents them or it's clearly some sort of a huge pain in the neck to try and get anything to crossplay with them. That's the only thing I can think of is that their system is in place.
That's not the case because Fortnite's already done it with Xbox One and PS4. Yeah. Air quotes here, accidentally, and had them playing each other. Okay. The only reason that this is a thing.
So this is just
there's a couple reasons that I believe are the reasons Sony doesn't want to do this. One, they don't have to because they're ahead by a huge margin. And there's no pressure for them to do this. I mean, there's pressure, but there's not. But they're like, yeah, but you're gonna. They can't. They're probably thinking, yeah, but we've got all this first party stuff. You're gonna buy it anyways. And two, the other thing is, I guarantee this is a factor. Some people don't want to say like, oh no, that's not really a thing. I think it's a factor. When they had that hack in PlayStation Network in 2011 or 2011. That's really jacked with their heads, and they are afraid of everything when it comes to their network. They never want to have anything even remotely close to that happening again. And I guarantee that at least part of it is genuinely that they're scared. Man, if we open up our network a little bit, something crazy could happen that we don't have control over.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a big enough reason for them to be able to stick to it. Like, even if that is a reason they admit it, I don't think it's like, well, too bad. You got to get over it and just trust your side. And then if something happens, if you want to blame them, fine. But it's a thing they're going to have to do. And if that doesn't happen now, this is the biggest shot in the foot this generation that they're going to do to themselves, period.
Yeah, I totally agree. And and we'll get into this later, but just as a foreshadowing, I feel like this happens when somebody feels like they're in the position of power.
Yes.
And so this has actually been a problem in some of my research. If you tied to PSN first, then you can't tie to anything else, even Xbox. You had to have tied to Xbox and then your PC and all that would work. So PSN has had this on lockdown, but I think it's just coming through more and more now because
are you talking about specifically with Fortnite?
With Fortnite, that's right.
Okay, because and I don't remember the circumstances, but I know I played a little bit through whatever the Epic launcher is on my computer, and I played through PS4, and I know I used the same account on both. I don't remember if I did it in reverse order, but I do know I used it on both. And I feel like I saw people on Twitter saying like, oh, well, if I had it on my PS4, I've also been able to play on my PC. But those two are able to crossplay, so maybe that's why that's okay. It might only be an issue with the systems where they won't crossplay, like Switch and Xbox One. But I don't know that for sure. All I know is that I know I played on both my accounts, and I was BreadFan35. I just don't remember the specifics, and I don't have the launcher on my computer because I deleted it. And I was like, oh, well, if I'm going to play, I'll just play PS4. And I just decided to stay there. But, so I don't know all the real specifics of it, but I do know that being on Switch is the new hotness, and people who at any point link to their PS4 can't play on their Switch on that account. Like, you can create a brand new one, and that's not like the end of the world, but that's not really the point either. You know?
That's right. Yep. Exactly right.
You know what?
Exactly.
You raised a really good point, Chris, because I work with Sony on the film division side on a lot of projects. And because of the hack, just from the PlayStation stuff, and they've had some other issues on the music side as well. They are absolutely paranoid when it comes to any type of user data. I have to, I have to log into a VPN. I have to go through this step-by-step process when I build some of the film sites for them. And honestly, like whenever they like approve a website or anything, legal has to look at it. Everybody has to look at it, and usually it's run by their legal department. Like I could probably build a website with a flashing turd on it, and as long as the legal and copyright disclaimer is on there, they'd be totally fine with it. But if there was one sentence or paragraph off in the legal side of things, they're like, no, you got to change it. So I think a part of that is that they are paranoid because that destroyed them the last time. It really shattered them for a while. But you're also right. I think they need to check their ego at the door and listen to the gamers. They say that they listen to their fans. It's time to listen to their fans. A lot of people want this, and we just all need to play nice. That's basically it.
And I've said before, and I totally get it. Like, this is going to benefit Microsoft in the immediate.
That's right.
Microsoft and Nintendo way more than it's going to benefit Sony. It is not outside of goodwill, and even at this point, it's going to be every day that passes, it's less and less goodwill that's going to be given to them because it's going to be more of like you should have done this so far back whenever. And I get it from a business-wise. This seems like a dumb decision because, quite frankly, it is. It just really is. But
I totally agree
goodwill, and you need to open this door and walk through it and take your lickings as you walk through that door, because when next generation starts, you do not want to be fighting this battle. You want this battle long behind you, because if you want to have a shot at maintaining either the lead or at least being able to compete neck and neck for the lead, you've got a lot of ground you got to make up here in the terms of because whenever every new generation is like it, you have your fanboys who like, oh, I'm a Sony guy or I'm an Xbox guy. That's the way they're going to go first, if not, only.
Yep.
But the vast majority of people, every time, it's like a fresh reset. They're like, okay, what does this place offer? What does this place offer? And they pick the one that offers the most. And when you've got, Games Pass that's going to give them every single game for free, every single first-party game, or not for free, but, part of the subscription, that's $10 a month, that's easy to just start paying and then forget about and be paying for. And then whenever you add in all these other little quality of life things that Xbox has been doing, it's like, I can understand maybe Sony's not going to do those things, but at the very least, you've got to have, even though I don't care, you've got to have you've got to figure out the name change thing. You've just got to do it. And then you've got to figure out and bite the bullet and just allow this whole crossplay stuff. These are two things that me as a Sony guy, I really don't care about, honestly. I don't care in the slightest. But even I know it's like, you've got to do this. This is the only good thing for you.
I'm right there with you, man. Yep, absolutely.
You know what's crazy? This could be, if they're smart, if Sony is smart, and I know they're not listening, but Sony, if you're listening, you could turn this into the biggest announcement for the PS5 there could be.
Yep.
If you present the PS5 and say it'll be cross-platform with other consoles, that would be such a huge win because you've held out. You know what I'm saying? Like, fine if you don't do it this generation. I get it. You're in the lead. You feel like you have your foot on Microsoft's neck. You freaking limped out on E3. I get it. You're in the lead. You're making money. Listen, I love you too. You're my preferred platform to play on. I own all of them, but you're my preferred one. But if you come out with the PS5 and this cross-platform thing isn't figured out and everybody else is playing together, you in big trouble, Doc.
I'm gonna say
trouble
right now, I kind of don't agree with you. I don't think they can wait till PS5. I think that's too little too late. Because but
I think these things will come and go. You know what I'm saying? You'll get used to it. Nobody's crying about Rocket League anymore. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like, once these things come and go, just because the internet moves so fast, I'm just saying, if you hold it back now, let's say it can't be done. I don't know. You know, they always say things can't be done and then do them. But I'm just saying, if you can use this as a launching board to say, it's just another opportunity to say we've been listening to the gamer and XYZ, we're doing this. You know what I mean?
I agree. Like, it's better to do it than never. But
I know, but what I'm saying is if the console doesn't come out till 2020,
yes,
and they announce that it's gonna be able to happen in 2019, or let's say Paris Games Week, later this year or whatever, like that would be a huge. Then they could skip even doing it now. They'd be like, hey, when the PS5 comes out, it's gonna have the XYZ.
What I'm saying is, I don't think they can do that because so many. Look, when the next generation hits, when the Xbox 2, Xbox One X2, and the PS5, whatever they're gonna be called. Right off the bat, the majority of the people that are going to be buying it day one are the hardcore gamers, the early adopters. They're the ones you're going to all the more normies that are going to get it, but like their mom or whatever is like, well, but your PS4 or your Xbox One is still doing fine. Let's wait a couple years. Those people. What I'm saying is that adding the backwards compatibility. And then adding the Games Pass into where first-party games are all free. Granted, there's not a ton of first-party games right now, but by 2020, there will be a good amount, especially with the new studios they announced, which I know we'll talk about. It's like when you start adding up all these little things, and then people are going to think back, man, I remember when I wanted to play Fortnite on my Switch, and I couldn't because I tied it to my PSN. But Xbox didn't do that. In fact, Xbox even came out and said, hey, because Major Nelson came out on Twitter and said, hey, you play Fortnite on your Xbox One, and you want to link your same account on the Switch, here's how to do it so that you can work on both of them at the same time, and your stuff that you purchase on either one will cross back and forth. All these things right here are going to be in people's minds and planting seeds, and all they're going to think when the Xbox 5 or Xbox 2 and the PS5 come out, and they're going to be like, you know what? Sony did all that stupid crap right there at the end of the generation. I don't want to deal with that. I'll just wait till Last of Us 3 comes out or whatever. I'm not getting that. I'm getting the Xbox. And then before you know it, the vast majority of the people have already switched over to there, and then it's going to be the whole catch-up race that they had during the 360 year. Now, as long as they don't botch the launch nearly as bad as Xbox One did, I think they can catch up and it can be a whole neck-and-neck thing. But you cannot wait until PS5 to have cross-play and say all that stuff. You just can't. You can't let Microsoft have a 2.5 or more year lead on you in that realm because they are buying so much mind share right now that it is close to the point where Sony's just going to be, they just can't, it doesn't matter what they do. They're going to be losing. They're going to be in the hole next generation. I'm telling you, they cannot wait. They have to do it this year or early next year. They have to.
But I don't think it's going to be so lopsided if they don't, because it doesn't matter to me, and I'm a PlayStation person. I play PlayStation because I feel like they have better games. So I'm going to play the games, and I don't really care about any.
But the landscape is going to be completely different come 2020, especially because of some of the stuff that we're going to talk about here soon. Microsoft, sure. I guarantee you, they're loading all their weapons and they're getting all their guns set and ready so that when Xbox whatever comes out, they have got first party ready. That's the same thing they did this generation. When PS4 came out, it was more powerful and it was $100 cheaper, and Xbox had more exclusives out the gate than Sony did. But Sony made all these deals with these third-party people and all these indie games and had a pretty decent lineup, just not of exclusives. And then all their dividends started paying in mid-generation and right now towards the end of the generation. And now Xbox is like, crap, we can't do jack. So I guarantee you they're saving their war chest up and they're going to build things up for the beginning of the next generation, and they're going to already have all these awesome services lined up, and they're going to look like the kings of the roost. I'm telling you. And Sony's going to look like,
no, I agree with that.
I just don't.
I agree with that.
I feel like for Sony right now to stop the bleeding, and I'm only talking about next gen. Sony's won this generation, and they can't lose it. I don't think there's anything that could happen short of like PlayStation just not existing anymore. There's no way that they can lose this generation.
They won this generation.
But there is so much bleeding right now for the next gen they are already like on life support, in my opinion. In terms of like winning or like going out as the front runner. I don't think they're gonna not be able to compete. They more than like have a reason for existing. They have way too many good games and way too many good things going for them. It's not like I think they're gonna fall off and not be an option anymore.
Right.
But they're not gonna win the next generation. They have got to start turning some things around and stopping some bleeding right now, in my opinion. Because Xbox is destroying them in mindshare day by day by day. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm with you, Chris. I'm with you. I just don't know. Yeah, I'm with you. I totally see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But everything is set up for 2020.
Yes.
Like that's, and I think that's when the next console generation is going to start.
Yep.
So I totally understand that Microsoft's loading up, right?
Yeah.
Number one, it still comes down to the games.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't have great games, then, that's a problem. But I just think that it's not too late. I think they could announce early enough that the next gen will have this cross-platform thing, and they're going to try to start, working that into the PS4 era. But as long as they launch with that message out there, I think people will forgive it because they know it's coming.
Yes.
That's my only thought. But I agree with you that Microsoft is doing the right thing, making building the temple with a wide base so that it can be super tall.
The crazy thing is, like, for the most part, obviously there's stuff that we don't know on the Microsoft side, but for the most part, they are putting all their cards on the table and be like, this is the hand I got, Sony. This is what I'm going to be doing. This is what I'm coming at you with. And Sony's just like, well, but we good right now. It's like, dude, you gotta stop looking at the now and start looking ahead. You've got to.
They are definitely thinking about the future, and that's encouraging. I'm with you, Chris. I still don't think it's going to be a blowout in this next generation. I think they're both going to be very competitive. I think it will be a close race because people, you've got your Xboxers and then you have your PlayStations, and people, some have both and some just prefer others, and that's just the way it goes. As you said, Gabe, a lot of it's going to come down to the games.
Well, and two, I think the worst thing that could happen for Sony right now is that another game like Fortnite comes out.
Yeah.
So we had
we
the
don't need any
Minecraft.
more.
We had no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying we had the Minecraft super boom, and that lasted for a year and a half or 2 years. So now we're in the midst of the Fortnite boom, which will probably start tapering off in the next 6 months, let's say. So if there's another game like Fortnite that just blows up and everybody wants to play it together and PlayStation still is not letting people play, that's when we're going to have a real problem.
That's when it's going to be a problem. Yep.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I feel like it could be the problem right now with Fortnite.
No, it is a problem. That's for sure. There's no question about that. People are crying all over Twitter. But I'm just saying, if another game comes out and blows up like this did, like Rocket League did, with people wanting to play together, we go be in trouble.
I do agree that if Sony can kind of get things together here, I feel like next generation is, and have for a while, that even though I think Microsoft's going to jump out to the lead, I feel like that's the generation where we'll finally have between Sony and Microsoft like the neck and neck race the whole generation, because we've never had that. The PS2 wiped the floor with the Xbox. The Xbox 360 destroyed the PS3 for most of that generation. It wasn't until the tail end that the PS3 caught up. And then this generation, it's gone back to where PlayStation 4 has just been dominating. I want a generation where almost the whole thing, they are like neck and neck and pushing each other. I really want to see that.
And guess who benefits from it? We all do. The gamers.
I know that's right. Yeah.
We benefit.
I think your biggest point, Chris, is that Sony is loading up right now to launch games. And if they launch the PS5 with the games now that we've heard about already, the Ghost of Tsushima or whatever it's called, and all that stuff, that will be a big flop. A big flop.
Well, and what happens if these highly anticipated?
Say that again. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Because the games that they're promising now, I think are going to come out on the PS4. If they're also the launch games for PS5, that'll be awful.
No, they won't.
I agree.
I don't think.
Where what Microsoft is doing, how they're just buying a lot of first party people now. Those games that those guys are working on will probably be the launch games for next Xbox.
You are correct.
Without having to, and they might backwards compatible them a little bit, like where they come out on both, just like with any console generation, you kind of have them straddle the line, but but we haven't heard what those games are yet. Right. Where we've already got promised these games. All right. Netflix is doing something really cool, and I guess they've been doing this, which I did not know, but they're adding Telltale games to Netflix that you can play with your controller, like your remote control. Huh. And so they announced that Minecraft Story Mode is a licensed 5-episode interactive narrative series coming to Netflix this fall.
Wow.
And they said it's an extension. This is Netflix talking. It's an extension of our other interactive stories that we have on our service, like Stretch Armstrong, The Breakout, Puss in Boots, Trapped in an Epic Tale, and Buddy Thunderstruck, The Maybe Pile. So I've never even heard of those things, but it's really interesting that they are it's kind of like back in the day when you would have the huge laser disc and we would play all those Don Bluth games. And, that's the way I'm picturing it in my head, where you make a selection and it jumps to a different thing. So they also confirmed that Stranger Things project is in the works.
Interesting.
So I thought that was just really, really interesting. I was like, number one, I didn't know these 4 other things existed, and then to get Minecraft Story Mode and play it only like you could play a Telltale game. You're not going to get Call of Duty on there. You're not going to get, all those kind of games. But like if Telltale and Netflix team up and you're able to make decisions, a decision-based game with your controller, your remote control, that's pretty dope.
That's pretty cool, man.
It's just such a value added piece to Netflix, which I already think is almost as much, if not more, I think is more bang for your buck than Amazon Prime. And I just think that they've brought so much good entertainment to streaming that it really does. And then to speak to the streaming thing that we talked about during 300A. Oh, Chris, you got any other things before we move on to these press conferences quick?
I mean, everything that I have kind of ties to the press conferences. So, I mean, we can just go through those and maybe we'll touch on them or something.
Let's do it. Let's start with EA, I guess. It was the first one we saw that we took in as a group.
Yep.
What I just want to talk about standout things. We don't have to run down the whole thing of everything they showed, but like, what was some of the standouts from EA for you, Chris?
I like the original stuff. I like having Unravel 2, Yarny and Blarney, as I like to call them. I liked having that. I liked it being a like, hey, and you can buy it now. That was cool. I mean, that it's not like a major AAA thing, but it's still neat whenever they can do like and you can have it today kind of thing. I really dig that.
That's always the best. Oh, I love You're always hoping for that.
And then I feel like for me, because I'm not a huge sports game guy, I feel like this whole EA Originals thing is where I'm like, man, I'm super interested in this each year. And the new one, the acronym for it was SOS. It's something of Solitude. I forget what it's called. The new one that they had.
Sea?
Yeah, Sea of Solitude. I thought that looked really cool. The art style, at least. I don't know. So I need to see more about the actual gameplay part of it. But I thought the art style of it for sure looked cool. And it's an interesting little indie story. And I get super interested in that kinds of stuff from EA. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more about that. And I don't remember if they set a release date for that. I feel like it was like one of those like, 2019 sometime. But I'll definitely be checking into that.
Yeah. It was the first thing, and they said early 2019. I was running around so much during that one, feeling like I had to get the door every time somebody showed up, that I feel like I didn't really get to just sit down and take that one in. That was the first time we're meeting some people, and they were showing up. The things that stuck out to me obviously was Anthem. They showed a lot of Anthem, and that looked amazing. They was it EA where they kind of did the sit down afterwards and did the Q&A with the creators. So I thought that was cool. I missed Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
They only announced it. Like they talked to Vince Zampella from Respawn Entertainment. He basically they didn't show anything. He just said we're working on a Star Wars game, and I can confirm that this is the name. That was it. Like she was out in the crowd talking to Vince Zampella, and that was all that you got. It wasn't like a trailer, title
yes.
screen.
Was that when he was sitting down and
Yeah.
he was saying, I can't say too much?
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So that game is super early.
Yes. And then we had Battlefield 5, obviously jumping on the train of Battle Royale mode coming to that game. So I thought that was cool. Ed, what about you? What jumped out to you on that?
Definitely for me, it was Unravel 2. I mean, speaking of new releases, I mean, I ordered it that night, and Sarah and I have been playing it since we've been home. And
Have you really?
Yeah, it's so much fun. Sarah
That's great.
loves it. We had the Tapmans over today, and two of my nieces played it. They loved it. Nathan and I played it for a bit. Nathan loved it. If you haven't played the first one, you don't have to. You don't have to have played the first one to get anything in this game. So it's its own little thing. I haven't finished it, but just it's really, really well done. And I was such a fan of the first one. Like you said, when they said it's available now, I was like, that's sweet. I know what I'm getting tonight.
I know that's right.
And then, like Chris said, Sea of Solitude. I just really liked the way they portray loneliness and turning the girl into a monster, and I just like that whole metaphor they use. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what that becomes of that.
Yeah, and the only thing that, and we're not going to Tim because Tim wasn't there, but
Right.
The other thing that kind of jumped out, you know how when you watch politicians and sometimes you're trying to sniff out a rat and sometimes you feel like they really mean what they're saying?
Yes.
I thought it was really cool when the Battlefront 2 guy was on stage talking about how they didn't come out the gate the way they wanted to,
Right.
and promising new content and the Clone Wars thing. It felt like he actually meant that. Like they meant it as a company.
They were being
definitely
transparent about their company, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was real.
And in the same
really cool.
fashion, the woman from Sea of Solitude, you could have laughed, you could have given her a hard time because she wasn't super well spoken.
Right.
She looked uncomfortable, but I think I loved that. You know,
Yes, she was speaking from the heart. That's for sure.
She was, and it probably wouldn't have been her first choice to speak in front of everyone, but
That's right.
you could tell that she loved that game, and I loved that. I could not fault her one bit for how the presentation came off, because I just thought it was amazing.
Yes, they did announce Origin Access Premiere.
Yeah, on
which,
the PC.
On the PC, which seems like it's going to play a lot like EA. EA has an access to be able to get. It's a new service promising to allow PC players to pay a single subscription fee and play all the EA games as they release, along with a library of old titles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this service thing, I don't know how you make money doing it, but I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like what we were talking about with Games Pass with Microsoft. You're like, why would you not do that? Why would you not pay, even if you pay full price, $60 for 6 months, $120 for the year, you still come out way ahead if you play 3 games.
Right.
You're going to spend
Right.
$120, especially if you're a Microsoft guy, you're definitely going to spend $120, you know, on 2 games.
Yeah.
So I loved that. I loved Origin Access.
And I really, real quick, I did really look forward to Anthem as well. Like, I really enjoyed that. I had a
Of
brain
course.
fart. I was like, wait, that's Ubisoft. That's not EA. So I'm super looking forward to Anthem as well.
Yeah.
Yes. What was the next one we saw? Microsoft? The next day at noon?
Yes, I believe it was.
Yeah, it was.
These boys brought it.
Dude.
These boys brought it. Now, I'm not a Microsoft main, and so it's not where all my money goes. It's in the living room, so it's harder to play games there. But it's like our Blu-ray player, our Netflix streamer, our, you know what I'm saying? It does a lot of things
Right.
in the living room. But, I mean, they came out with 50 games, 18 exclusives, and, I just thought they got to work. Chris, did you have anything that stuck out to you from that one?
I liked they had a new location. They were at the Microsoft Theater, and I thought that they usually do pretty good with their presentation, but I thought this year in particular it looked really cool, which I know that doesn't pertain to the games necessarily, but there's something to be said for the aesthetic part of the thing. So I really enjoyed that. And then honestly, for me, and I mean, I don't know how in depth we want to go on each one, or if we want to do like a wrap up at the very end, but the biggest thing from Microsoft, because I'm kind of like you, where yes, they teased a new Halo, and they teased a new, or not really teased, they showed some stuff from a new Gears of War. I'm just not interested in those games, so those don't do anything for me in particular, but I understand the cachet and the weight that those games carry, and I understand their importance. So it's cool to see that they had brought that to the table. This whole new studios that they purchased, and then the one studio, the new studio that they're actually creating is definitely a good thing. I mean, they're putting their money where their mouth is. And
do you feel like that was a little overstated? I feel like it really felt like they were buying 3 new studios is what it kind of felt like to me.
Yes, I agree with you that, people are like, oh my gosh, you're buying. And of course, from the PR standpoint, they need to say that, we have 5 new studios because technically speaking, they do. But yeah, Playground or Undead Labs and Playground Games, you're already making Microsoft exclusive games. So it's in that sense, it's no different than like if Sony were to buy Quantic Dream, it's like, well, but Quantic Dream, all you ever make are story-based Sony exclusives anyways. Cool. I mean, now you've got stability and you know that team's not going to break a contract and go off and do something different. So you've got that at least.
I was a little sad that Playgrounds is Forza. That's a big game, right?
Yeah, that's
all I know is I got it for free and never played it. Now it looks pretty, but I was just a little bummed. I was like, man, it's Forza though. Like we announce this every year.
Yeah, you feel like you already had that one.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the bigger news between the two, you could say their new studio that they're creating called The Initiative, which has
that was very cool.
Yeah, that's cool, and I'm interested to see where that goes. I don't know a lot about Darrell, or I think that's how you say him, Darrell or Daryl Gallagher. He helped reboot the original Tomb Raider back in 2013. So, I mean, he's got some chops, obviously, and so I'm sure that this is going to be cool to see what they come from there. To me, the bigger news out of the acquisitions, if you will, is when they acquired the people who do We Happy Few. I think it's Compulsion is the name of them, and then Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory to me, that is like the biggest. That's the biggest piece of news out of Microsoft all of E3. Period. Like I feel like that is such a huge deal, and then so much so that like they came out
and explain a little bit who Ninja Theory is.
So Ninja Theory, the game that they most recently did that everybody would know is Hellblade: Cinema Sacrifice, which was kind of like a AA game in a way. It wasn't quite AAA, it didn't have quite that level to it, but gameplay wise and the way and the polish on it and how well it looked, it was an amazing looking game. And everybody, I mean, I've talked about on the show how I struggled with that game because I was trying to go for the platinum and I had some technical issues that I ran into in that trying to get that trophy. But I had a really great time with this game, and I feel like that they're very, out of everybody that I know of that is in Microsoft's stable of developers, this is the one that's going to be able to do things that's like on Sony level. Because Sony, one thing that you can definitely say about them is they are willing to let their studios just make some crazy stuff. They are willing to take risks. They're willing to not just be like just the first-person shooter console where we have all the first-person shooters and all the dude bros. They'll do some weird, trippy stuff, or they'll do some little artsy-fartsy games and stuff. And I feel like Microsoft's never really been willing to go down that road or not invest heavily in it. And Ninja Theory can do some artsy stuff that's still really impactful and cool. I mean, the Cinema Sacrifice, Hellblade, is all about mental illness, essentially. You know?
Right.
And that so I am super I was already excited to see what they were going to do next. Now the fact that they are going to be making a game exclusive, or only going to be making games exclusive for Microsoft, that makes me more likely to make sure I get an Xbox next generation. I mean, I was probably going to do it anyways, but I mean, to be completely upfront, my whole thought was like, I'm probably not buying an Xbox right off the bat next gen unless they just wow me with something, because I bought one, in the launch window this year, same with my PlayStation, and the entire generation I've played like 90-10 my PlayStation. It's because it's just where my preference is.
Right.
Like, you know what? I'm going to get an Xbox, but maybe I'll wait because who knows if they're going to do this half-step thing again, But now, if they come with a launch game from Ninja Theory, that's going to make me way more excited than almost anything else. I think that was a huge deal for them.
Well, and as you've said, they are setting it all up. They are setting the table, and I think that's the smartest thing to do, to not focus on the now, to focus on the future. I think Phil Spencer is he's a kind of a forward thinker anyway, which is great. So they are certainly setting the table with that. For me, the press conference didn't do much for me because there's not any games that I really wanted to play. That I wasn't really interested in any of them.
Yeah.
But I think they put on a good press conference because it was just one after the other, just bam, 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 bam. We got games, we got games, we got games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I felt like it was more a mix of the old press conferences with the new press conferences.
Right.
Which is cool. You know, newer press conferences I would describe as just like trailer. But I feel like they had a good mix of people coming out and talking and sharing what they wanted to achieve and what they were trying to do. You know, obviously with who is it, Todd Howard coming out and talking about Fallout 76 and stuff like that. And I thought it was really cool. The things that jumped out to me, even though it's a terrible name, but I love Dragon Ball Z. I have played a Naruto game and I beat it, and I really actually enjoyed my time in it. They had a game called Jump Force that they showed.
Right.
I couldn't figure out if it was just going to be a story with just a fighting game laid on top of it, kind of like the DC games.
Mm-hmm.
Injustice.
Injustice. But I thought that looked cool. Cuphead getting a looks like DLC.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Cyberpunk 2077 is a game that we've heard little about, and we still didn't get to see any gameplay, really. Mm-hmm. We just got a trailer that looked awesome and showed that it's going to be this gritty world. And I mean, even though I never made it to Skellige, I really enjoyed my time in Witcher 3.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really great. And
so
then
we did learn one thing about Cyberpunk just throughout the rest of the week so far of E3, and it's that it's actually going to be a first-person game.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's gonna be
person.
Mostly first person. They said there's gonna be times where you obviously in cutscenes where you'll be able to see your character, and there's gonna be times where you're doing different things, walking around and talking to people, where apparently that's gonna switch into third person. But the game's gonna mostly be a first person game, and I did not expect that at all.
Yeah. Interesting.
So yeah.
And then the other thing was, I never played this games. Don't know why I'm excited about it. But I thought Devil May Cry 5 looked really fun.
Yeah.
And it made me want to check that out.
Right.
Edward?
Yeah, I left the Xbox conference. The thing that stuck out to me the most was just Game Pass.
Yes, sir.
Like Chris mentioned, it's something that if you have it, you kind of forget that you pay for it each month. Mm-hmm. And so even though I'm paying for it each month, all I walked away thinking was, I'm getting to play a lot of games for free, even though I'm paying for it. But still,
exactly right.
If it's $30 for 6 months, after a year, I've paid for one game.
That's right.
And most
that's on sale too. $30 would be on sale.
Right. Mm-hmm. And most of the games that they put out there, I probably wouldn't have played otherwise, but because I can play them with Game Pass, I'm going to try them all.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And so, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to get to play a ton of games that I probably wouldn't have tried otherwise. And more than likely, I'll find something that takes me by surprise, and I'll have a new favorite series.
That's right. I like that. The only other thing I thought, and I didn't have as visceral a reaction to it as I feel like Ed and Stancil did, but Life is Strange: The Amazing Adventures of Captain Spirit. Mm-hmm. I thought, number one, with it being free is great, but I thought it was looked like a cool little story, and like I felt like it was I loved the way they presented it. Like, you're this kid who's using his imagination. You kind of get to go to his imagination world and have powers and stuff like that. And it feels like it's going to tackle a bigger issue that I'm not reading into yet. Mm-hmm. But I thought it could be cool. I know that Stancil said that was his favorite thing from the whole press conference.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'll be interested to try it. I'm going in with very low expectations, but I'll give it a shot.
Well, free,
right?
It's pretty good.
Is it? I didn't fully understand. Is it like free forever at that date, Or is it like a free? Is it maybe it's going to be episodic? So episode 1's free. I didn't understand the free aspect.
I almost felt like it was if you get it up until I don't know. I felt like I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I just didn't. I wasn't quite clear on that, but I was like, oh, I got to remember that because I want to try out the free thing.
Yeah,
exactly. Who was next that we had? Was it Ubisoft?
No,
Bethesda.
next was Bethesda.
Was it Bethesda? I thought Bethesda was at night. Bethesda. I mean, if I can start, my whole takeaway from Bethesda was just Todd Howard. I thought he was amazing. I thought he presented what they were doing well. Obviously, he talked about a lot of Fallout. And I just thought he killed it. I thought he was funny.
Yes.
I thought the jokes about Skyrim were hilarious.
Yes.
The
great.
Skyrim on Alexa thing with Keegan-Michael Key was so funny. And it seemed like they didn't take themselves too serious. That's what I loved. They performed in the round, which I thought was really interesting, where there's a huge, not a huge arena, but an arena full of people, and they put the screen double-sided right in the middle and with the stage right in the middle. So Todd Howard kind of walked around as he talked, and there was something about that gave it an ease. And I don't know, he just was kind of like a pimp to me a little bit. I was like,
I agree.
This is working for me right now. He was like the entire thing I took away from
it was fun to watch.
It really was. And, I'm not a Quake guy. And so, I didn't really care about that. I know the Wolfenstein announcement was kind of fun. I was excited because, Ed's talked about how amazing that game was. They did take a deep dive into Fallout 76 and how it's a prequel to all the other games and how everybody that you run into is another player, kind of I want to say Destiny style, but I say that very loosely only because in Destiny, say you're on a planet, you might see somebody zoom by on their little, racer, or you could, I don't even remember if you can team up right then, but you can do the public events together and stuff like that. But this one, you can shoot each other and kill each other and rummage through each other's things and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. And so I mean, up to that point, Todd Howard had stolen all of E3 to me. I thought he was just incredible in the way he presented himself.
Yeah, they did a really good job with games like Doom and Fallout 76 and even Prey, that games that I was just never interested in, but watching the presser, it made me wish I want to play those games. They do a really good job of making me want to play those games, even though to be honest, I'm not a Fallout guy. I don't really care for Fallout. But after watching that, I really wanted to play it.
Yeah, me too. I felt the exact same way. What about you, Chris?
I honestly, there's not a single game in the Bethesda camp that I care about. So I mean, Bethesda's always the one every year where I'm like, well, there's been many years where I don't even watch. It's only been around for a couple of years, I guess now, but I didn't even watch it, especially those ones where it was crazy late. I agree with you guys. I feel like of all the people that showed up, it started out rough.
Rough.
The whole
Andrew
WK thing, and then the short guy and the tall guy, and the short guy's head kept going behind the microphone, and it started out rough, and they kind of got it back together. And obviously, to close it out with Todd Howard, is that right? Am I saying his name?
Todd
right?
Howard. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, clearly he's the big wig and kind of the superstar of the whole Bethesda area. So I feel like that was a smart move. And I mean, people were losing their mind over Elder Scrolls 6, and people were losing their mind. Kind of losing their mind over Fallout 76 when you're finding out more about it. Some people are on the fence about the whole way that it works now and being an online only RPG kind of thing, and there's some questions there. But for the most part, I feel like it was well received, and I feel like he did a really good job. I mean, he's definitely the superstar of Bethesda, so I feel like the more times they can keep him on the stage and the less time the other guys, the better.
I tell you what, man, he could have done the whole thing, I feel like. I mean, he did the last, 30 minutes?
Yep.
Probably up there. And he was so endearing. I don't know. Stancil said that he actually, he's met Todd before, and he said he's a really great guy. So it was nice that, that happened and stuff like that. I was like, oh, well, that's cool. That's good to know that I'm liking the guy on stage that, is actually nice in real life.
I mean, I feel like the Wolfenstein guys were cool. I liked them. They had a good little kind of aura to them as well, and they felt very comfortable out there. And then the main guy, I guess I don't know his name, but the guy who came out at the very, very beginning, he just showed up a few times. I guess that's like the main guy at Bethesda. I thought he did pretty good too, although he was barely out there. And his little opening joke about the whole Walmart Canada thing was hilarious.
That was amazing.
I was like, okay, here we go. And then it got real rough for a while before Todd Howard came back
Yeah, but
out.
he came out the gate swinging, and it was excellent.
And that was a really fun way to start that. So I do like how they try to have some fun, and you definitely can tell like that is a Bethesda conference. Like they have their own feel to them, and I like that.
Yes,
for sure. Tim, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all in agreement on everything. I play very little of their games. I would have loved to have seen maybe a Dishonored, but I know Arcane was working on Prey 2, so we'll give them that. Fallout 76 looked interesting. Don't know if I'm going to play it. They said it's 4 times bigger than 4, and I'm like, well, I struggled with 4, so I'm probably out. But yeah, I'm excited for the next Elder Scrolls, even though it was just a title treatment teaser, basically. I'm interested in their, what was it, Starfield or...
Was that them? Starbridge, Starlight,
Star or something? It was Starfield, right? They did Starfield, then they went into Elder Scrolls 6. So I'm excited for that because, I will definitely probably play the Elder Scrolls. But yeah, their press conference was great though, and I think it just went really well, and that, man, they're there making games for the people by the people, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
They listen. They really do listen to to all of the feedback, and that's what I appreciate about them.
Yeah. I like that. What about and then I don't know what was next. I can't remember the order, but was it Square?
Square was next.
Yes.
I mean, not too much to say about Square. Here's the thing I appreciate about Square. Square is Square. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not expecting much more out of them. I mean, we know that they've got Tomb Raider going on, which is awesome that they have Tomb Raider. But then the rest is going to be what you expect out of them, a bunch of Japanese RPGs. You know what I mean? And so watching that one, they didn't blow my socks off. They're towards the bottom of my list, but it was a pre-produced thing. You didn't really hear anybody talk.
Yeah.
So it fell flat for me just a little bit. The Quiet Man.
That's what stood out to me.
That was the one that I was like, okay, so hold up a second.
Right. Right.
I was like, what is that about? It reminded me of Baby Driver because in Baby Driver, that guy can't hear too well. And it's always like a high ringing whenever you kind of are watching things from his perspective. But that stood out to me the most. I've fallen so behind on the Tomb Raiders, even though I want to play them so bad.
Yeah,
they're great, man.
I had to ask if this was the third or fourth one. Like, I couldn't even remember.
I mean, I'm super excited for Tomb Raider, but I feel like for the most part, everything they had to show, we had already seen, except for The Quiet Man. So it was really hard to get super excited about what they had to show.
Yeah. And even with Tomb Raider, for me, and you guys please tell me if I'm wrong, with Tomb Raider, it feels a little wash, rinse, repeat for me. It feels like get dirty, sneak around, beat up Lara Croft. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of games can fall into that when you get into your third and fourth game.
Right.
But I think I was hoping to see something a little bit different, and it's still kind of, it's not damsel in distress because she's awesome.
Right.
But it's just a little bit just her. You know what I mean? And
watch us beat the crap out of her again.
Yeah, look how far she can jump, and she just made it, and she's gonna sneak. She just that was that, and that's just me. I could be definitely wrong about that.
Yeah, I feel like you could say that about any franchise, though. You could say that about Hitman or Uncharted or Assassin's Creed. Really, most franchises, and that's why you like them, is because you get to do that.
But I feel like in Uncharted, especially because that's gonna probably be the thing that has the most in common. I feel like, and maybe this happened in the second Tomb Raider. Again, I didn't play it, but I feel like in Uncharted, I'm able to love other characters besides the main character.
Yeah, I definitely grew to like Lara's crew. One guy is in all the games, the newer iterations. And so I definitely, there are other characters I definitely became fans of as the series went on.
It just seems like with Sam and Sully and the girls that got their the DLC that I guess you could call it. It just seems like they have a bigger cast of characters that I can fall in love with than with the Tomb Raider games, and I think that makes it shake it up for me a little bit.
Right.
And two, Uncharted 4 had that amazing tension between him and his wife.
Yeah.
Which kind of takes you a different way with the story. What about you, Chris? Anything Square Enix?
I mean, I even though I haven't played Tomb Raider since the first one of the reboot, I thought it looked good. And I don't know. Again, I didn't play the second one, the Rise of the Tomb Raider or whatever it is. So this one, the whole scene that they showed, or the gameplay section where they were in the forest and kind of, it felt very Uncharted to me. But at the same time, they both kind of steal, or not really steal from each other, but kind of mimic each other in a way. So that kind of interested me. I was like, oh, okay, this I feel like this interests me more than the last one did, because the last one I didn't even care to go pick it up. So it perked my ears up just a little bit more. But that was really, and I'm kind of the same way, the Quiet Man thing. I was like, well, I wonder what that's about, because it looks like it's going to be gameplay, like CG gameplay mixed with choices, mixed with like FMV. So I don't know. It's some weird thing that's like, I need to see more. I'm interested, but I don't really know what I think yet.
Yeah. That totally makes sense. Tim, was there anything for you there, bud?
No, I didn't get a chance to really watch it, but yeah, I will say Tomb Raider is awesome. I've played both of the newer versions. I enjoyed both of them. I can kind of see it's kind of a little repetitive, but I do enjoy them. I think they're fun games to play. So I'm in either way on that one. That's probably the only Square Enix games I usually play.
I like it. So next up we got Ubisoft, right?
Yep.
I thought these guys came out the gate swinging. Obviously, my kids love Just Dance.
Yes.
I thought that was a great intro for them to start out with.
It was. I really enjoyed that.
For me, the big things for this, obviously, they took a deeper dive into the Division 2, which got me really excited. Ubisoft was one of the ones, kind of along with Bethesda, that had me thinking, like, how do you do all this at once? And I know they have a bunch of different Ubisoft Toronto, Ubisoft Montreal.
That's
Ubisoft,
how they do it.
They've got a lot of people.
But it's still hard to have a great, to be able to uphold the quality across all those different studios.
Yes, I agree.
And I feel like they do so well even from Mario and Rabbids, messing with Nintendo, over to Rainbow Siege 6 and or Rainbow, what is it called? Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think we're probably all going to say the same stuff on this one too. Division. I don't know anything about Beyond Good and Evil, but that Beyond Good and Evil 2 thing
really looked amazing.
Ballerific.
Definitely.
Yep.
Skull and Bones obviously looks like they took a book out of Assassin's Creed and Black Flag and really tying all that in. So I'm passing it to Chris. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, to me, this one was my favorite press conference of all the ones. I don't know. I just felt like they kept it going, and they had little bits where, a developer or whatever or head of a studio may come out and chat, but I didn't feel like it took too long. It always felt right. None of them felt awkward.
Well, they felt like they had a reason to be out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the only one that was kind of goofy, you could say, was the Trials guy who came out and then fell and crashed into the podium. But I mean, at the same time, that totally fits what that game is. It's a goofy crash game, And so I just thought that it was a fun little conference, and it wasn't too long. Like it felt like the most perfect one. Like it felt right. Everything flowed well, and there wasn't any big errors or big screaming things. Like, oh well, except for that part. And the games all seemed interesting, and I feel like they did a good job at making me care. Like even For Honor, like I don't really want to play that game, but when that dude was out there talking about For Honor, I was like, hey, I'm gonna listen to what this dude has to say.
Mm-hmm.
He had my attention.
Yes.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tim?
Yeah, they're the winner for me as well. They came out with a lot of games. Obviously, I am super excited for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think it's a great time period. I noticed a lot of similar gameplay as Origins, so I think what they've done in taking this year off is they've kind of set the template, and now they can potentially go back to annual. But it sounds like they're really, really focusing more.
Didn't they have
on
Origins just come out last year?
Yes, they did. So
they took a year off 2 years ago. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. So I think they're really trying to push this franchise to almost all RPG moving forward. It sounds like they kept saying RPG throughout their presentation.
There was no mention of the Animus. That's for sure.
No, there was nothing about that at all. So and you're making more decisions in your conversations with people, and I like that. I think that's great. I'm in. I'm definitely in with that. So that was the big standout game for me. I gotta say, like Division 2 could be kind of fun.
Yeah,
I think that looked really interesting. It looked really clean, and I enjoyed that. Skull and Bones, I'm a little on the fence on because it looks like it's just all Assassin's Creed's Black Flag, which is that going to get old after a while? That's the only thing I'm worried about. But it's still, I loved the combat in Black Flag, and if this is anything like that, then that could be kind of cool. But yeah, I feel like they had the most games that I would probably play, and Beyond Good and Evil, I never played it either, but man, that looked incredible.
Yes.
And I was like, geez, this could be really, really good. So they took the cake for me, definitely.
Edward?
Yeah, I think Ubisoft is probably my favorite developer right now, just because they have the most games that I play.
Agreed.
We're gonna get Just Dance. We get it every time it comes out. We always have a good time with it. Like you guys said, Beyond Good and Evil, I know nothing about it. It looks like a blast. I love what they're doing with Hit Record.
Come on now.
I spent a lot of the day today uploading things for the Hit Record voice, what they're looking for.
Oh, good. Do they have voice stuff?
They do, yes.
Oh, I need to do that too. I need to do that.
So yeah, that's been a lot of fun. I'm a huge Trials fan, so I was super excited to hear about that. And The Division is another one where I've tried to play. I played the demo the first time around. I couldn't get into it. It was a little over my head, but man, they sure made me want to play it. From that trailer.
Can I say something real quick about the Hit Record thing?
Yes.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt replied to a tweet. The tweet said, "Judging by all these tweets, I feel as though Hit Record should have told people that they pay their contributors on the Ubisoft stage." And Joseph Gordon-Levitt replied and said, "You're super right. Huge oversight. I think script got trimmed at the last minute and we effed that up. It's hugely important to me that Hit Record pays artists fairly. Since 2010, we've paid Community almost $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so it is something they left out, and I was really interested that they didn't touch on that. It sounded like, just do this and hopefully it ends up getting the game. That'd be dope, right?
Oh,
that's kind of, I mean, I figured you'd get paid.
Right.
But they just didn't make a point to say that
interesting.
you'd get paid.
Yeah, that's good to know because I figured
there are
the
some
same.
people that are kind of some bigger creatives that are kind of having an issue with the whole Hit Record thing only because of the style of the way that it works and that it's like you could build all this stuff and then they could just be like, oh, we decided not to use your thing, and then they could go and make something similar, like kind of they're afraid of idea stealing kind of thing because there's been other servers that have done that. And I'm not saying that there's necessarily like rumors that Hit Records had issues with this in the past, but I've saw some murmurings from some people that are like I'm not a fan of this style, but I feel like there's been a lot of people who have done it, and they did come out like with that comment, and then another one which Joseph Gordon, I think he was in like some article from like Kotaku or one of those where he went in a little bit more in depth too and said, look, anything if you're like, because they want to do it collaboratively, like if we take an image and we build something out of like 4 different images, he's like, it doesn't matter if yours is the main part of that image or just a little bitty piece, like you're gonna get credit, and if your stuff gets used in whatever form or fashion that is, even if it's being hodgepodged onto another thing to make a new thing.
Yep.
It's like you're getting credit and you will get, to some extent, pay on that. And I think he said that as of right now, they have a $50,000 budget to work with to pay for this creative stuff or something
awesome.
for this
That's
one
awesome.
in particular.
And I would encourage people that feel like that, I'd say welcome to creating.
Yes.
You know,
definitely.
there's thieving happens all over the place.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, we can't, you know, and this is maybe a lot of new people that create figuring this out. This has happened with me a lot where I write a song and it doesn't get cut. And then the artist that I was writing for has a song with the same title that comes out a year later. Now, I'm not saying that they heard my thing and stole it, but I do know they heard that thing and then named the song the same thing.
Right.
But I'm not a writer on it. So, you know, things like that do happen. Sometimes it's an oversight. Sometimes you just get to running and you forget where the original like idea might have come from. You know, so, you know, we can't be, I understand being very sensitive to that matter, but, you know, we got to, sometimes as creatives, you got to just know it's going to happen.
Right. I gotta say, I was a little underwhelmed with Assassin's Creed, and I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. And
Were you really?
the only
Okay.
reason is because I feel like I just played this game.
Interesting.
Before
Yeah.
that, you
And
know,
I did.
you jump
Yeah.
from France over to the American Revolution to pirates and what have you. So you're kind of always jumping around. I feel like I just did the sandals and toga and sand thing. And so
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
like for there
Yeah,
to be
interesting.
something maybe in between, because I'm interested.
And you just did the male and female thing, right? 'Cause
Exactly.
in the last one, you could play as a guy or girl, and then they tried to announce this one like it was the first time they ever did that.
That was a little confusing to me. So, I mean, I'm going to play it, and I think it's a great setting. I just wish that there was a game in between to kind of break it up a little bit. But
That's an interesting point. Yeah.
yeah, when they were showing
Yeah,
it, I was like, I
still
feel
on
like
it.
I'm watching my own gameplay right now.
Right.
Interesting.
I will say that I did not play Origins. I'm not someone who really got that intrigued by it, and I was more intrigued to play this one than I was Origins.
Nice.
Like
probably
the
easier
setting,
to
setting,
skip.
like the Greek or the Spartan setting, everything interests me more than like Egypt just
Right.
wasn't really doing. Even though it got tons of praise, and I had interest from that standpoint because I was like, well, lots of people are saying this is really great. I bet it is, but I just never really got super interested in the Egypt part. And
Yeah.
So the Spartan stuff definitely intrigued me more. So I'm feeling like, I mean, I'm gonna be picking it up. I mean, who
That's
knows
cool.
when that
Good.
time actually comes? But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Good.
Yeah.
We get everybody on that one?
Yes, I think so.
The last one we took in as a group
Mm-hmm.
was Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else go first.
I am less upset about the presser now in hindsight than I was at the time.
Nice.
I still am not a fan of the intermission they took after the first.
Absolutely hated that.
But now when I look back, and it's probably what they want, really all I think of are the games. You know, I think of The Last of Us, and I think of Ghosts, and I think of Death Stranding, and that's what I'm remembering. I kind of have forgotten how weird it felt, but after all is said and done, I'm excited about Control, the new game from Remedy, which Chris called out Quantum Break almost as soon as it started playing, and correctly so, because Remedy's got their hands in this. But I definitely enjoyed what Sony had to say and present more now, just because I just remember the games and the gameplay and the trailers, and at the end of the day, that's really what I was there for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, I hated everything about it except for the games. Like Sony has the games that I want to play along with Ubisoft. But for me, Sony's press conference was the lowest rated press conference this year for me. They basically put all of their eggs in one or in 5 games baskets. And if they don't perform well, they could be in trouble. And that's a big deal. Last of Us 2 gameplay was amazing. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. It is going to be brutal, and I kind of like that. I think it's going to be really edgy and really good, and hopefully it's going to tell an amazing story as a continuation from The Last of Us. So I'm super excited with that. Ghosts of Tsushima, I thought it looked beautiful, but it was just the combat looked really janky to me. And it just felt like it didn't feel as fluid. And Death Stranding, I was like, I mean, this looks incredible, and I don't know where this is going, but my boy Chris is going to be all over that. So I think it's going to be very interesting. So there's, there are some games here that they are putting a lot of effort and featuring a lot on, and if they don't deliver well, that could be a big issue. So I'm a little worried, but there were definitely games that I want to play from them. So we shall see.
Christopher?
I feel like out of everybody there, I had the least issue with Sony. Now, I will say that I feel like Sony, like if you look at all of them and say who's number one and who's at the bottom, I feel like Sony and Square are like tied for the bottom to me. But that's more so to me that I feel like all the rest did so much better, not because Sony and Square were just the worst things in the world ever.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's more in presentation than it was in actual content. Yes.
And also because Sony had come out ahead of time and said, hey, it's not going to be a normal press conference, and we're going to talk about a few of our third-party partner stuff, but for the most part, we're really just going to go a little bit more in depth on these 4 games.
Right.
And I knew that, and I was expecting that coming in. I had hope that maybe they're going to throw us a couple curveballs, but when they didn't, I was like, well, this is what I expected. So I'm sure that part of that is what's leading into my not being that disappointed, because I knew what was coming.
Yeah, they did tell us.
But I
didn't know.
And that's not to say that like it still was the right decision, because I will agree it was not. Yeah. But because I knew, I guess maybe that's why my disappointment level is not quite to the level of some other people. I liked I appreciated, I guess, how that first venue was really made set up to look like The Last of Us. And because I know The Last of Us, and because I know enough about the game that I got into the soundtrack, and I know that Gustavo is the one who did the soundtrack, when he came out and played that song, for me, that was awesome. But the flute man in front of Ghost of Tsushima or whatever did not work for me at all. So I understand people who don't care at all about Last of Us music probably didn't like that either. I enjoyed it because I'm a fan of it.
Yeah.
And I don't like the idea, and I can't imagine even having been there, I would not have liked to have had to have moved venues to another venue. I'm glad they only did it to 2, because I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to move to a new venue for every freaking game, and this is going to be horrible.
Too, yeah.
Well, and tweets were coming out saying that people were mad. You know what I'm saying? From the people that were there. They were like, there's a lot of unhappy people here having to get up and squeeze through a door and, you know what I'm saying, and move venues to another place, you know?
To me, I feel like out of all of them, Sony's the one that likes to try, just like it is with their games. They like to take risks, they like to take some chances, and they like to do something a little goofy to say like, okay, well, how can we one-up ourselves? And I feel like this was a time where they just totally missed the mark in presentation. I think they need to go back to and look, yes, you can make your cool artsy games, and yes, you can have your really cool soundtrack people that come out, but you have to understand the majority of gamers don't care about the ambiance. They want to see the games. That's all they want. You had it great when you did it with where God of War was there, and they had the symphony. Like that was creative, but still worked really well. And then last year they had like the weird sand stuff that was happening, kind of like some people hanging from the ceiling and some weird stuff. It's like, well, that's getting a little weird. And this year was like, okay, you went too far. You need to dial it back. You need to just be the games. I love having Sean come out and just say a few things at the beginning, and then basically you never see him again. That's awesome. This moving venue stuff and everything for the majority of people doesn't work. So you need to just not do that. And I enjoyed all of the games. I have no idea. People have been asking me and hitting me up. I have no idea what's going on in Death Stranding. It doesn't matter. I'm a day one adopter. I'm going to be buying that game. I'm as intrigued and weirded out and like what in the world's going on as you guys are. But I loved every minute of it, every weird minute of it.
Yeah.
And I loved all the other ones too. There wasn't a single game that they showed that I was like, that looks that I can remember anyways, off the top of my head, that I was disappointed with, or I was like, that looks bad. I thought Ghost of Tsushima looked great, or however you say it. I didn't notice any of the jankiness that you said, and I know some other people just weren't. They were like, well, it just seems too artsy. There doesn't seem like a lot of context there or a lot of substance there, and maybe there won't be. But to me, I just took that as like, hey, this is a really small, like, vertical slice. I don't really expect to learn anything about this. People that have been on the show floor reporting about it have had lots of praise about it. I haven't had the time to read a bunch of it yet.
Oh, yeah, no,
I've seen a lot of people say like,
that's great.
oh, this is really great, and I really love this, and yada, yada, yada. So I'm interested to see what else that is, and I think it's, I mean, I like Sucker Punch, and I trust them. I trust that they're going to be able to do something that I'm going to enjoy. And so until they prove me wrong, I'm just going to have faith.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. And the other thing that I forgot that absolutely killed me, no freaking dates.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't have a problem with that
barely any on any of them, and that is immensely frustrating to me. That I think is what really put me over the edge. And I kind of get it for I would give it a pass with Death Stranding. I was hoping for Ghosts to have something. I was definitely expecting a Last of Us date, because in the gameplay, they had the UI. Everything was there. Everything seemed like everything is in place. Like, what are we waiting on here? So who knows? But the no dates, that was brutal.
I will say that when they had gameplay of Last of Us 2, and even though it wasn't to the same extent, they did show gameplay in Death Stranding. I was a little like, wow, they're not going to give us even a year. And they showed us gameplay. I thought if you see gameplay, you're going to get at the very least like a month or a quarter or something, or a year.
A season.
Yep.
Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, I just keep going back to, people have given Sony in particular flack upon flack upon flack upon flack about giving us a date and then pushing the date and then pushing the date and missing the date. And so I just can't fault them
if
they're not sure, not giving a date. I just can't give them fault for that, because it's like I can't have it both ways. So it's like, if you're not ready for a date, then, don't put a date. I'd almost rather, I do agree. It's like, well, then why did you tell me about this game so far in advance? I mean, with Death Stranding in particular, I'm a nerd for all that stuff, so it doesn't bother me. But like The Last of Us 2, man, I almost wish that this year was the year we were seeing something about it. Or last year. I feel like it's been a little too long now. It's like, man, it starts to get hard that I want the excitement not to wane. And not that and it's weird to say, because I don't think it's going to wane for me for The Last of Us, but I want it to be fresh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, all attention now at Naughty Dog is on this game. So, I mean, last summer we had Lost Legacy, and they were working on a few other things. Now everybody's on this project, so I have a feeling it's going to move a little bit faster. But I mean, we've seen something now for 2 years, almost 2 years, and it's like, great, give me something. And I'm not like, even if they did and it got pushed back, I wouldn't be mad at them, but I would love to just at least have but I would love to have just a little bit of hype in that, and just be like, oh shoot, it's coming in, and enter blank.
Who knows? It's with Naughty Dog in particular. I mean, it could be that Neil's like, hey, I don't want to give a date, because true. He was late with Last of Us. He was late with Uncharted 4. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want to miss a date again. He's like, well, if they don't know a date, I can't be late on a date.
Right.
Because I would not put it past Sony to be like, Neil, Neil gets what Neil wants. What do you want? Who knows? I don't know. I just, it's hard for me to really give them crazy flack. As a fan, yes, absolutely, I want dates. But I'm not going to get angry when they didn't give him.
Yeah, I was just more upset from a fan perspective, because I just really want to start getting into this game. But at the same time, it is. Hey, if you need more time, great. Then just if this game is as incredible as I think it's going to be, and you need that time to make it that way, absolutely take your time, but hurry up. This is one of those things.
Mr. Gabe.
Well, you guys know, because you were there with me.
Yes.
That Sony broke my heart.
Yeah.
Now I wait all year to watch Sony's press conference.
Yep.
That's the one that I just cannot wait to see. And I just feel like at every turn, they gave me what I want, but came up short. Except for The Last of Us. That obviously, when I first saw that they were in like a church setting, I was like, oh gosh, you're not going to do a whole press conference right there in that little room with that little screen, are they? And then they show The Last of Us 2, and you're like, okay,
makes sense.
That's really dope.
Right.
You know, and even Chris hit me like, oh, that was whack, on. Now it's cool. And I was like, yeah, I got to give it up to him. That was cool. And then they had the 10-minute intermission. And then I was like, okay, I'm back to hating this.
Yep.
And so, I mean,
hated everything about that intermission.
Listen, I went in wanting Death Stranding for my boy Chris, wanting Final Fantasy VII for myself, and then wanting dates for everybody. And I feel like I got the short end of the stick on most of that. So, just if I can explain for a second.
Yes.
To me, and I told this to Chris, Death Stranding, that's, for me, that's barely a look at gameplay. If you want to just show me you walking in different areas, that's not gameplay. Like, yes, it is technically gameplay. But
That's
like
an engine testing.
It's like, it doesn't show me how anything works. Like, okay, you can walk and you can climb and you can go through water. Like, okay, like these are all things you can. Okay, that's okay. And so that was a bummer for me, just because I was like, come on. Like, there's already shrouded in so much mystery. And I'm intrigued too. Listen, I want to get it too. I'm not hating on that. Last of Us obviously knocked it out of the park. For some reason, I'm falling less and less in love with Spider-Man. I don't know if it's just because I've seen too much now or whatever. And so not as much is left to the imagination of what it can be. But Control was the thing that kind of got me going the most out of the whole show. I was really excited to see stuff from Ghost. Maybe I just need to know more of the story for me to care more. But it seemed like it didn't do a good job at telling me what the problem is. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? The Last of Us has a way of every trailer, you're like, okay, here's the problem. Here's the people that are going to try to solve it or survive it. Let's get to it. I didn't really know what the problem was in Ghost. I didn't really know who you were in Ghost. I didn't know why I'm fighting my friend all of a sudden, but then we don't really kill each other. It's just like we kind of end on good terms and, you know, run off together. And so, but I was glad that they showed gameplay.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm right there with Chris. I trust Sucker Punch. I trust that they're going to give me the thing that I want, even if I don't know I want it yet. And I think it's going to get there. Just the Sony thing overall to me was so underwhelming. And it was done to me so poorly. I loved the banjo thing. I felt like it was long, though. I felt like he didn't have to be out there that long. Same thing with the flute guy. I was like, okay, well, let's get to it. You know, they didn't spend all that time when they had a full orchestra, you know, building up the thing, you know, and then the orchestra played during the trailer. And so, you know, that happened. Resident Evil 2 was the other thing that popped out to me. I was like, oh, that's so cool that they're doing that. So I was glad for that. But just overall, I was so sorely disappointed. It was kind of like if I told my wife, hey, it's your birthday, money's a little tight, so I'm going to bring you one rose, okay? Is that all right? I'm just going to bring one rose. I know my wife, she's going to be like, okay, Gabe's saying he's just bringing one rose, but obviously he's not just going to bring one rose. It's my birthday. He's going to bring a rose and a card. And then I show up with just the rose. And she's disappointed. I go, what? I told you I was only going to bring you one rose. And so that's kind of how I feel with the whole, like, they told us it was just going to be a deeper dive into what they've already shown us. And I was like, I know, but don't you over deliver? Don't you like stake your claim? Don't you put your foot on Microsoft's neck and you say boom, boom, and boom? And it's like, all right. Like, I didn't mind that Todd Howard came out and said with Bethesda, hey, let us show you a game we're working on. Showed it. And let us show you one game that we're just starting to work on. Show the title screen for, you know, whatever, Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, totally fine with that.
So it was just little stuff like that. There was just no, like, I wanted just one punch in the gut that made you go like, oh, yes. That's all I wanted. I just felt like I didn't get that.
Yeah. You know, I think the biggest response was for Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
I felt. Yeah. I heard a lot of people were like really excited for on that one.
Yes.
And Gabe's like, nope.
No, I was the same way. I was so like when that guy turned around and I was like, oh, freaking Resident Evil. Like I was just as excited as everybody else. I won't be playing it, but I was just excited from the stand of what Resident Evil is to gaming. Right. And I like to see people win. I love that that's getting remade. I love that. But just overall, I was just like, this sucks right now. And then when it was over and they show the montage, you're waiting for the Marvel after credits. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, they're going to show us like one little thing they didn't say was coming.
Yeah.
Just because no press conference usually is ever like that. Chris, please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't feel like I've ever watched a press conference where they told me exactly what I was going to get and I got exactly what they told me. Usually there's something else.
Yeah, there's usually something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever come out beforehand and been like, hey, it felt like
it feels like we were too tired to do anything, really. That's what it felt like to me.
Well, I mean, that's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is it feels more like this was a PSX plan and not an E3 plan. Because PSX is where the Sony fans, the big Uber Sony fans are going to be going to that, where they don't, I mean, yes, they want to be wowed as well, but they also want to know all the ins and outs and want the more deeper dives and all that kinds of stuff. That's what it felt like to me. This felt more like a PSX presentation at E3, and I think they really kind of, in a way, should serve different audiences. So
yes,
that's why it felt out of place.
I just feel like if all eyes, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but it seems like the most eyes go to these press conferences.
Yes.
Gamescom I know is huge, but I feel like all eyes look at E3.
Yes.
So why do this at E3? Like you're saying, like why have a lackluster? This is the time. This is when everybody's watching. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's been sitting in front of their computer or whatever for 3 days. You're the last one. Kill it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything to say about Sony? We didn't watch this one together. I watched it by myself. Nintendo's Direct. And listen,
if you're a Smash Brothers fan,
I thought it was great, irregardless of that.
Yeah.
I thought it was really fun. I thought Reggie was good. Obviously, Smash Brothers Ultimate got the lion's share towards the end there. Where,
right.
You know, they broke down that every character that's ever been in Smash Brothers is going to be in this one. I think that's huge.
So wait, is this a new Smash Brothers?
It's a new Smash Brothers. There's never been one where everybody's in it. And they're adding a couple characters, and they said they're going to support it in the future. And they're bringing out like a GameCube controller for it that's branded with the Smash Brothers logo.
So it is a brand new game, because I saw some stuff saying that it's actually a port. But I was like, I don't know if that's...
Here's the hard part that's hard to differentiate. Sony's tight-lipped. And so they're not going to tell us if there's...
You mean Nintendo?
Nintendo, sorry. Okay. Nintendo's tight-lipped. So in the sense of like, they have shown that everybody in the past is coming back and a lot of the stages that you loved are coming back. And so it's hard to say that it's a port.
Yes. Okay,
because they are adding new maps and they are adding new characters. And they are adding the way things work. So it feels new, even though you're going to be playing on old stages. And but it's not like it was with Mario Kart.
Right.
Where Mario Kart was just a re-release of Mario Kart.
I also heard that they actually are missing at least one character, because apparently Waluigi's not in it.
That's right. Waluigi's. They haven't announced that he's on there.
Oh. So
but they said too that they're still like
they're holding for later.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's what's weird about Nintendo is like they're like every character will be in it, and people are like, "What about Waluigi?" And they're like, "Well, we're still early development, even though it's not early. It comes out in December. At least that's what they said, December 7th." But they're saying there's a lot of things that you see today that will change. We still have to balance a lot of things out. They're doing this thing called
a lot of characters to balance.
Right. And they got a thing called echo characters. So where like you can play as Princess Peach, but then Princess. I don't remember the other one.
Yeah, I forget who it was too.
There's another princess that plays
Princess
exactly
Pear.
like something like that. She plays. It was Daisy. Daisy plays exactly like Princess Peach, except with just minor differences.
Kind of like Ken and Ryu.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you don't know that they're not going to do that with Waluigi and make him, an echo character to Luigi or Wario or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine because he's such a different kind of character. So that was obviously cool. You love to announce, everybody knew Fortnite was coming to the Switch, but you love to announce and you can get it tonight. It was actually today. It was like, hey, at noon Pacific time, it was going to be out. I was super excited about Super Mario Party. I love those kind of games, the Mario Party games. And so when they showed that, I was like, yes! And then they showed Overcooked 2, which I hadn't seen yet, and mentioned that you could play it, wirelessly with other Switches or online. And that's the whole reason I didn't buy the first Overcooked, because I don't have anybody to play with here. And I was like, if they ever do online, I'm getting it. So I thought that was cool that Nintendo got that announcement to say that Overcooked 2 was going to be.
And that's not a Nintendo exclusive, right?
No,
they
that
just
won't be
announced
exclusive to Nintendo.
Okay,
Yeah, it comes out for everything on, I think, like August 2nd or something like that.
Very nice.
Yeah. But I'm super hyped that that's going to be online, and I can't wait to play that. And they announced Killer Queen, which is a super fun arcade game. And I forget who I was playing with last. I think it was in Chicago with the Stapletons and Nick Cooper. A bunch of people came out. I think we had like 10 people came out to Chicago when I went there. And Killer Queen's a great game in the arcade. It's super fun. And we were all looking at each other like, why is this not out on consoles? And then Nintendo says that Killer Queen's coming to the Nintendo Switch. So I felt like even pre the Super Smash Brothers stuff, which you knew was coming, they had a lot of games that they announced that were great. Okay. Edward?
Yes.
You feel like doing some YouTube or anything?
Sure.
Hit him up.
Well, new on YouTube this week, Married to the Games, episode 300A, the live show.
Yay!
That's right.
Go check that out. Watch the magic for yourself.
That's right.
Looking at our top 10 YouTube videos for the week of June 6th through June 12th, combining average watch time and views. Number 10, Drawful 2 gameplay.
Hey!
Look at that. Number 9, Watch Dogs 2 Part 6 Bottom Dollar Complete. Number 8, Watch Dogs 2 Part 48 Go Signals. Number 7, Hue Part 4 Pink. Number 6, Hue Part 10 University. Number 5, Gabe and Chris react to The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, they thought it was the old one.
They did.
I mean, they thought it was the new one. Sorry, guys. Clickbait.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Clickbait. Never gonna give you. No. Sorry.
Number 4, Ori and the Blind Forest Part 14 Thornfelt Swamp.
Oh, yeah.
Number 3, Hue Part 11 Ending. Number 2, Watch Dogs 2 Part 19 Paint Job.
Oh, wow.
Number 1,
Hot Sauce Challenge.
Married to the Games episode 300A live show.
Yay!
That was awesome.
Nice.
I love that.
I loved seeing that.
That is great.
Yes.
What a good time had by all.
I'm telling you, man.
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing.
Really was. Tiring, but amazing.
Yes. And yes.
The tired was worth it.
Yes, very much so.
So last week we couldn't answer this question, so I asked these guys to rank the press conferences that they saw in order, going from best to least. But we did ask you guys, did the E3 press conferences give you what you wanted? Starting over on Discord, we've got Dante's Belmont, who was at 300. Besides the elephant missing in the room, there were 3 titles I was looking forward to the most. Final Fantasy VII, Metroid Prime 4, that was a big one that was missing, and Last of Us 2, only one delivered. Yes, there were cool things shown, awkward moments to laugh about, dates delivered for Ed, but left with that sensation of something is missing. I get that. Nick Fallhaber, I'm happy with all the new stuff I saw, but as a big fan of the Armored Core series, I'm excited that Metal Wolf Chaos is getting a US release. I've been wanting to play that game since the official Xbox magazine put the Japanese demo on one of their discs as an Easter egg. After over 10 years since it came out, I never expected it would actually get a Western release.
Nice.
Matt, the IT guy.
Nice.
That's got to be Matt Lighty. He said, meh, of course I'm a huge Halo fan, and that tease was awesome. What you may not know is I'm an equally huge Splinter Cell fan, so not getting a legit full-on Sam Fisher fix stings. It's been a long time since we've had a full Splinter Cell with him. That's true. A lot of people were thinking that they were going to show Splinter Cell, and he did not pop up. And Superman, apparently.
Yeah.
Poor Patrick.
Yeah. Over on Facebook, we got Philip Hamilton Brown. Yes and no. Last of Us 2 and Spider-Man, maybe The Division 2, but not holding my breath. But my no is I was really looking to see anything about Watch Dogs 3 and a big nothing. Yep. Josh Brandt gave me things I didn't know I wanted. Among them, Dying Light 2, Rage 2, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Ghost of Tsushima, Control. Missing was Bloodborne 2 and Demon Souls Remaster. Ooh, Demon Souls Remaster. Emmanuel Eugene Clinton II. That's a name to live up to there.
Right?
There you go.
While I was blown away with how good games look now and with the breadth of the titles announced and shown, I couldn't help but feel a little underwhelmed by the sum total. I can't quite put my finger on it. I may have been jaded by previous years that included multiple system announcements. That being said, I'm definitely looking forward to Anthem, Last of Us 2, Ghost, Fallout, and a few others.
All right.
I know that's right. Over on Twitter, we got Juan Pedro Garcia at JP Garcia 04. Yes, sir. Xbox delivered on the third parties, day one exclusives on Game Pass, fast track for quicker gameplay, and future promises of more exclusives with the purchasing of 5 game studios.
Yeah.
Amen. Chris R. Smith at Fuzzhead23. As a PlayStation only gamer, I thought E3 was underwhelming and strange.
Nice.
Wu-Tang Chan at Wu-Tang Chans. Nope. Gabe Logan still posted up on that milk carton. That's funny. I don't know who Gabe Logan is, but that's funny. Gabe Logan is from Siphon Filter.
Oh, there you go.
Still posted up on that milk carton. That's really funny. Tim, starting with you, buddy. Best to worst, your press conferences rated.
Ubi, Bethesda, Microsoft, and Sony. I think those are the 4 I watched.
There you go.
So yeah, but I think Ubi did a great job this year, and they have a lot of games. So, and I play a lot of them, so that's great.
Yep. Edward?
I had Ubi at number 1. Number 2, Microsoft. Number 3, I put Sony. Number 4, Bethesda. Number 5, EA. Number 6, Nintendo. Number 7, Square Enix.
Oh, man. Just barely got over there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't play any of those games, but for people who do, it was a good show.
Yep. What about you, Christopher?
I'm saying Ubisoft, then next I would put Microsoft. I think after that, man, I don't know. Maybe Bethesda. I almost kind of feel like Bethesda, Square, and Sony could all be like a last place A, B, and C. Quite frankly.
Really?
I mean, yeah, because I mean, there were things I liked about all of them, but there are also things I didn't like about all of them.
Yes, for sure. So there you go. I had Ubisoft. Ubisoft, I just think They, like Chris was saying, it was almost perfect.
Yeah.
Like they did so well with theirs. Microsoft, Nintendo, Bethesda, because Todd Howard, EA, Square Enix, Sony.
Ooh, Square Enix above Sony.
Only because Square was like really true to who they were.
Yeah, that's true.
I felt like Sony wasn't. I felt like, kind of like Chris was saying, I feel like Sony put on their artsy fartsy pants and was like, step aside, boys.
Right.
Let's show them how it's done. And everybody was
we
like,
got this.
And I'm like, and I think too, what put them at the bottom was like the people tweeting out that were there, like, this sucks right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know that was just that first little thing, but it's like, for me, I always go back to the first time I went to E3. You fly out there, you spend the money, you're super hype. And then so when it doesn't deliver at such a degree, it's like, blech. You know, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Well, you guys know where to find us. Facebook.com/married to the games, Twitter.com/MTTGcast. Of course, marriedtothegames.com. Come check out the shop. We got mugs, we got shirts, we got controller skins over there. Like Ed said, youtube.com/married to the games. On Patreon, if you want to support the show for $1 a month, patreon.com/MTTG. And if you would like to join our Extra Life team, I would say do it. I'm going to pause on that for a couple months, but we'll start pushing it again in the fall. But extra-life.org/team/MTTG. Come join up, man. It's for the kids. We were really blessed to be able to go and hear some stories over there at Extra Life when me and Chris and a couple of the guys went up there. It was really cool, right, Chris?
Yep.
So it was awesome. It kind of reinvigorated me. Like, yeah, we got to hear a story from a kid's mom who was like, this kid is who you're playing for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was a really, really great story.
That's awesome.
And Ed.
Rate us on iTunes. Leave a comment. Subscribe. And next week, every time we change segments, you can move into a different room in your house.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a good one, Ed. That's really, really
I like that,
good.
Ed. Good.
Well, let's get into some questions.
Alrighty, we're going to start with Discord. We're going to start with Arctic Warlocks. FIFA World Cup starts Thursday. Who do you got winning? Will you watch any of the matches?
I don't know, and no.
Is this just for me then?
Yeah, I think the better team will win, and no, I won't be watching. I might watch. I don't know.
I've got USA because I'm a homer, and that's just the way I roll. But no, I'm not watching.
I don't think we're in the World Cup.
USA is not in the World Cup.
we're not
They
in
got
it this
nobody.
year.
They failed to
Ireland, are
qualify.
they in it?
I think so.
Well, then I'll go for them. I'll just process of elimination.
All right, there you go. Yes, I will be watching. Probably not all the matches, but I always love World Cup. I hate that the USA is not in this one, but I think Germany's going to go. I think Germany's going to go pretty far, and I think we'll see Spain up there as well.
Nice.
Yep. All right, that's it for that.
Yeah, that's it for that.
Calmed Fury, for a gaming-related question. What's your most anticipated game now that E3 is wrapping up, and why is it Cyberpunk 2077?
If we would have seen more out of that game, that would be it, but mine is Anthem. Chris?
Yeah, I could maybe go with Anthem because it's the one that I feel like I still know the least about. I mean, I don't really know a ton about The Last of Us 2 either, but I also feel like Anthem's coming before that, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll go stick with you and go with Anthem.
Tim?
Mine will be Assassin's Creed in October 5th. I'll be all over that.
Edward?
I'll say Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Nice.
Nice. Very good. Really good. That Lem guy. Boy, that Lem guy.
Isn't he a good guy?
He's a good guy. Our historian. If there was a MTTG con, what would you like to see happen there? Dream big.
A panel of voiceover actors.
Ooh, yeah.
Christopher?
Man, any kind of panel. It could be voiceover actors. It could be animators. It could be, Neil Druckmann talking about Last of Us 2. I don't care. If we're having panel. Married to the Games Con, yeah, man, panels. I want to have the panels.
Kojima with no interpreter because we can only afford Kojima.
Oh,
yes.
Yep.
We just have to guess at what he's saying, look in his eyes deep, and just pray that we
Exactly.
we get it. Tim?
Yeah, I would love to see some VO people there, possibly 1 or 2 producers. And I would love to just see like a wall of consoles and all of us just playing together.
I like
so
that.
Much fun.
Ed?
I would like to see the London Spitfire there with no interpreters.
Nice.
Nice. I like it.
That's awesome. That's great. Chris the Rock, if you were a yogurt, what would you be with fruit at the bottom or stirred? Parentheses, Biodome reference. But seriously, what's your favorite kind of yogurt? I prefer cherry flavored Greek yogurt.
Ooh, I like strawberry.
Strawberry. Would you be fruit on the bottom or stirred?
Stirred, baby. I like getting them random chunks.
Mm-hmm.
Ed?
I just like the plain old Greek yogurt, and then I can add my own fruit and goodies into it.
Hey, nice.
There you go.
I like that.
I've tried to get into Greek yogurt. I can't do it.
I love it.
I like a lot of different yogurts. I like strawberry. I like strawberry and banana. I like blackberry. I like blueberry. I just like yogurt, and I would be stirred as well.
Timothy?
Yeah, I would be stirred Greek yogurt of the cherry, strawberry, and or peach and blackberry flavor variety.
Nice.
I love Greek yogurt.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to Facebook, shall we? Matthew Serta. Are tacos a sandwich?
No.
No, they're tacos.
No.
Yeah, those are not a sandwich.
Exactly.
There's no bread.
All right. And then that was first parter. Second parter. In a world where it's all about music singles, what is your favorite album that you love to listen to the whole thing?
I've been really liking that Charlie Puth lately.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That album is good. He's got an old soul to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's even got a song that's fully a cappella with him and Boyz II Men on there.
What?
He's trying to win a brother over for sure.
Interesting.
Chris?
There's several of the Metallica albums I like and will listen to all the way through. There's a band, I think I've mentioned them before on here. Their name is Brand Van 3000. They have one album in particular called Glee, and that one of all of their albums I think is the best one, and that's the one that where I was introduced to them, and I love every single song on that album. I can play it. I can just put it on and play. It doesn't matter. I'll put it on random, and I can listen to every single bit of it.
I like it. Tim?
Love that. Recently, honestly, I've been listening to the latest Post Malone.
Oh yeah.
She's like the Sade of hip hop, which is really weird, and it's it's really interesting. But I've been just digging it, and especially like when I get up and start working, like it's just good early morning music to listen to while you're working. So
yeah, with Piper around and everything.
Yeah, right.
I'm just kidding. It's not music for the kids.
No, it's not. But I kind of like it. It's got this very vibey.
Yeah, he's doing his thing right now.
He really is, man. He's so hot right now.
Yeah, I think it's the #1 R&B rap album. I think for like 5-6 weeks straight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. The last person to do that on the R&B charts was Beyonce.
Wow.
So
Queen
good company.
Bee.
Good company.
Wow, that's amazing company. Yeah.
Auntie Beyonce.
Is that all?
For me,
Ed.
Lately I've been listening to the new Ed Sheeran album. But
there you go.
Green Day's American Idiot is always one I can listen to
yeah.
over and
So
over.
good. Yes.
That's a good one, Ed. Well done. Very good.
Good question.
Eric Westridge, I just joined your Patreon.
Thank you.
What?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is an easy question. Is there any way to hook up a fire team for Destiny 2 with this community? Well, if anybody is still playing. Absolutely.
Yeah, we have on the Discord, we have a get your group on.
Yep.
section where you can go in there and say, hey, I'm playing this and anybody else want to play. I don't know off the top of my head who's playing Destiny 2. I'm planning to get back into it at some point because I do want to play the expansions before Forsaken comes around. But yeah, that would be the best place to go on the Discord and just throw it out there and see who else is available and like find out where you might be in the country and find out what time frames works for everybody because, you know, somebody might be east or west or central or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And I know it sounds like it, but it is a place just to group up. It's not a place where you go get Groupons.
That is also true.
Right. Yes.
That is very true. Yes.
It's
yes,
get
well
your
done.
group on, not get your Groupons. Not like, get your Groupons here, get your Groupons here.
There's no savings here. It's just getting people together.
That's right.
Thank you for joining the Patreon.
Yeah, really.
Yes,
Absolutely.
That means a lot.
Thank you for that. Yep. Gabriel Anthony Marcano, are any of you guys anime fans?
Used to be.
Yeah, not so much.
I used to watch Guyver and obviously Dragon Ball Z. I'm a huge Akira fan, like enough to where I would put pictures up in my studio, probably of Akira.
Nice.
What's Akira?
It was a movie in the 80s.
Okay.
80s, yes.
That came out in the States in the 90s, maybe?
And it basically put anime here in the States, I think. I think
it put
so many people attribute their love for anime with Akira.
I used to be a Ghost in the Shell fan. I think is that it? It was in my high school years, but I used to love anime.
I do not know any anime at all.
Chris?
The only anime that I have ever gotten into, and I got into it enough to where I will say that I absolutely love it, is Death Note.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's really good.
I tried a handful of other ones. I haven't had a ton of time to go, but I tried like what is the one with the Attack on Titan, and I tried a couple other ones I can't think of off the top. I have not tried Cowboy Bebop. I hear a lot about that. I'm planning to give that a shot. I've just not been able to get into any of the other ones. I really dig the art style. Oh, I also tried One Punch Man. I just can't get into them. They're a little too over the top. What I loved about Death Note is that it had the cool like anime over the topness in a way, but it also felt grounded as a grounded story, and I really dug that. When it goes really crazy, I can't really get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim, did you ever watch any anime?
No, I never got into it. I don't even think I haven't watched. I've watched parts of Akira. I've never watched the entire thing, and I wouldn't remember it anyway. It's been a while.
Death Note is really good. If you wanted to check something out, and I believe it's still on Netflix, and it's dubbed.
Okay.
You can, if you go to the sound preferences, you can get it dubbed in English if you'd rather do that than read the subtitles.
I don't mind. I don't mind reading subtitles,
but you might be able to get into that one.
Some crazy stuff. Yep, crazy stuff out there. Jim Page, does anyone lip sync the intro with Gabe, or is that just me?
I'll do it occasionally.
I don't think I do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do all the time.
I try to keep it the exact same so that people can lip sync, though. It is a thing I think about.
That's very nice of you.
Yes, thank you. How thoughtful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because I sing along to, they don't really do them anymore, but like I always used to sing along to my favorite theme songs. And so I feel like, those never changed. And so I was like, man, if I could stay as close to the same thing every time, then hopefully it makes people smile whenever it comes on.
There you go.
That's right. It always brings a smile to my face, that's for sure.
Boom.
Mike Doherty. Between increasing stress/exhaustion from the kids and wives and 9 to 5s, I've only been able to relax with bite-sized games, a match of Tooth and Tail or Clash Royale. What are some of your favorite quick to pick up and put down stress relief games?
Overwatch.
Yeah, that's my answer. There's not any other. It used to be back in the day, and I know this sounds crazy to say a first-person shooter game as a relaxing game, but also it would be Call of Duty. It's really more of the time frame because I could get in there, play a match or two, and be out.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's what I really enjoyed about it. In the same way with Overwatch, I can just jump in there, play a little bit, get a loot box or so, and feel like I've accomplished something and head on out.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say Clash Royale. I mean, that's been
Yep, me too.
That's been the go freaking too. I also really liked when I was playing. I think it's called Aldo's Adventure.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
I really, really liked playing that.
I
game.
did too.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Steve LeBay, if you could take a character from any franchise and play as them in a different franchise, which character would you transfer over to which franchise?
Oh gosh, that's tough. Ugh. I really want to play as Booker DeWitt again.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh. But where?
That's a great question.
All right. What about Booker in Mass Effect?
No, I
Or is
don't
that
want him
too
in there.
weird?
That's too much.
All right, we'll back that off. Sorry.
Sorry, my fault.
That's my bad.
Maybe. Dang it, man. That's a tough one. I don't know where I want him. Maybe I'll just say the Max Payne universe.
All right, I'll change it up. I'll put Nathan Drake out in Mass Effect because he would be like the Han Solo kind of, I think.
He would.
Of Mass Effect. So I'm gonna pick him going out in space.
That's the thing I always feel. I didn't play Andromeda, but that's the thing I always felt like Mass Effect was missing was a personality.
Yep.
For the main character.
Commander Shepard was very much like this.
Yeah, exactly. Ed, what say you?
I would take Dexter from Space Ace and put him in Overwatch.
Oh,
You're brilliant.
wow.
You're brilliant.
And his ult would be
Ed.
when he turns into like Space Ace and gets all big and strong.
Yes.
Cammy! Oh my gosh, that's brilliant.
Ed, it's like you knew that question for a month.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It just came to me.
You win.
That's a great
You win,
answer.
I
It was
fold.
from the Lord.
You win, I fold.
Yes.
It's your spiritual gift.
I check raised and you called my bluff and I have to throw in the cards.
That's right.
Christopher?
Fold.
Man, I don't really know. Shoot. The only thing that I could think is maybe I feel like it would be fun to have the new version of Kratos in something else, but I never played Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls, so I don't know if it makes sense for him to be in that universe. But I think to have someone that can really like beat him down and really
be
hold
awesome
his
in
own
Smash
with
Brothers.
just an axe or something like that. Yeah, well, he was in the Sony ripoff version of it, and he was.
I know, but that wasn't as good.
Yeah, well, I know, but I'm just saying he was in a version of something like that before, and then he was in the old version of Kratos, the one from Greece, was in Mortal Kombat once. So that's a bit of a maybe a ripoff answer. Yeah,
There you go.
He was in Mortal Kombat 9.
Nice.
On Sony, anyways.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
That was an awesome question. All right, we've got two more on Twitter @thatchowfie. You have one bite left of a tasty treat, meal, or a dessert, and one of your family members wants a taste. Do you give them that last bite or nah?
Yeah, man.
Nah. If it's the last bite, I'm cool with you coming in, halfway through or in the beginning, be like, oh, can I have some of that? Sure, absolutely. The last bite, come on now.
You know what? I'm gonna say no too, because my kids ask for bites all through dinner. And so I'm probably down to my last bite because of them jokers. They not getting the last bite as well. You're not getting the
That's funny.
You're not getting the 3rd, 5th, 8th, 9th, 11th, and last bite.
Right. Yeah.
It's a big piece of cake.
That's it for you. Yep.
Tim,
I'm giving it.
good for you.
Yeah, I'll be nice.
Me and Chris holding it down for the eaters.
For the eaters.
All right.
That's one of my favorite things about Chris McCracken. That boy can eat.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It all goes to his beard.
I like this question. Good way to end. Chris R. Smith, with E3 now over, what is the next gaming-related event you are looking forward to? I know we touched a little bit about this, and somebody mentioned it, but for me, I'm excited for Paris Games because I remember last year they revealed quite a bit more on a lot of the games that I wanted to know about, so maybe they'll do the same this year.
I got to go with you, Router. Paris Games Week.
Yeah, that's same for me.
Brought the pain last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When is that? I'm going to look it up while Chris is answering.
It's usually in October. I mean, that's going to be my answer as well, but that's assuming that Sony's going to be showing off stuff there.
Sure.
You never know. I mean, they may switch it back and go back to Gamescom this year. Who knows? But if they keep to the way that they've done it the last 2 years, then yeah, next thing I'm looking forward to the most is Paris Games Week.
It is the
awesome.
week of the 30th of October.
Halloween.
Ooh, Halloween. There you go.
That sound right?
Yeah, it's usually around October or so.
I'm kind of trying to find it on a French website, so that could be very wrong. Yeah, the 26th through 30th of October.
Nice.
Paris Games Week. Come on, baby.
Yeah, seriously. Give us dates then, please.
I've got the 31st to the 4th of November.
I'm on parisgamesweek.com, or is that what you're on?
Now I'm on Google.
No, man, I'm on Google.
Like it was the top one. I put, when is Paris Games
He's
Week
on-
2018, and it's the first thing that showed up. And it said it'll take place
Oh
the
my
31st of
gosh.
October to the 4th of November.
Are you sure? Are you looking at 2017 on accident, maybe?
No, it says 2018.
This says on parisgamesweek.com. It says Friday the 26th through Tuesday the 30th
That's
of
so
October.
funny. It sure does. I'm looking at that too. That's so weird.
That delivery was so great.
That was.
How about
I'm on
Google?
Google.
I'm on Google.
Wow, just telling you.
That was perfect.
Oh my gosh.
All right, that's it for the questions. Thank you, everybody.
The question for you guys this week, EA digs up a lot of stuff. And a lot of people take sides, and a lot of people obviously see things different. Like when I was looking up Sony's press conference and some of the highlights, the main thing it said was like, people were expecting a lot out of Sony and they did not disappoint. And I'm like, oh, I could not disagree more. So the question is, are you a fanboy? Are you a fanboy of anything? Chris McCracken.
Yeah, I consider myself a Sony fanboy. I like them. I don't just like what they produce. I like them. Like, I tend to prefer them. I like the fact that they're blue. I like their controller better. Like, there's so many aspects of them that I like that I tend to just default to that.
Uh-huh.
But I like to think of myself, or I like to not think of myself as a fanboy in the sense that I'm like, oh, Sony can do no wrong. Like, I feel like I can be critical and I can look at it with a critical eye, even if I don't agree, or even if I'm still like, yeah, but they're still my preference kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Edward?
I would say I'm not, just because, like Chris said, to me, a fanboy is someone who believes everything they do is amazing, and I'm definitely not like that with pretty much anything.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Router?
Yeah, if we're using that definition, probably I don't have one, but I am a fanboy of Star Wars, and I do love me some Disney. So.
Oh yeah.
I'm a fanboy of Final Fantasy VII. Not that it can't do any wrong, but kind of like with Chris with Death Stranding, it's like almost no matter what they do with this remake, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the definition of a fanboy. Is like, even if it looks bad, I'm still buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, I definitely have to say that. So are you a fanboy out there? What are you a fanboy or fangirl of? And let us know. Use hashtag #AnswerMTTG. Thank you guys so much for this last week of love.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's been awesome. It's been
Amazing.
awesome seeing the community support the people that got to come and people sharing pictures and everything like that. It was just so much fun, and our cups runneth over and over and over. So we appreciate it. I'm Gabe Patillo. That is Tim Router. That is Ed Placitia. That is Chris McCracken. I don't get to point to you guys today.
No.
Oh.
Oh, man, back to my pointing to the air. And we are married to the games, and we are up out this thing. Peace!
Nah. I'm on Google.